Chapter 1989. When Xiao got a cell phone. This was the first time he got a cell phone after being targeted by the Jutsai group. Although it was impossible to use it to make calls, he could go online and report the current situation to his superiors. At least, he could let them know about his situation. When it was late at night, when Xiao took out his cell phone. Just as when Xiao took out his cell phone, Yiwen Guang, who was on the bed next to Wen Xiao, said, "What's wrong? You can't sleep, right?" Because of the Buddha's head, the 10 experts stayed in the warehouse, including Yi Wenqing. Only Yi Wenyang left with a bodyguard. He was going to meet the people at the customs. Otherwise, he would be guarding the Buddha's head. They were going to arrange for Wen Xiao to leave with the Buddha's head tomorrow night. Of course, they had to communicate with the customs and the police in advance to prevent any mistakes. Wen Xiao nodded. "I definitely can't sleep. You have something worth more than 300 million in your room. Can you sleep?" "I can't sleep." Yiwen Guang shook his head. "But don't worry. Third brother and the others are watching over this thing. Nothing will happen. Whether something happens or not, I can't sleep either." Wen Xiao said, "I have a feeling of uncertainty in my heart. I don't have a good impression of the Japanese. In the past, I had some dealings with the Japanese, but the Japanese give me the feeling that they don't keep their promises. How should I put it? They are villains. Yes. Some Japanese are indeed despicable." Yiwen Guang said, "Our business partner this time might be despicable too. Everything depends on you." Wen Xiao smiled bitterly. "Won't release the goods if I don't see the money?" "Of course." Yiwen Guang said, "The final deal is to hand over the goods with the money. If they don't transfer the money, we can't give them the goods." "What if they transfer the money and I don't want to give them the goods?" Wen Xiao suddenly asked. Yiwen Guang was stunned. He didn't expect Wen Xiao to say such a thing. "If they pay, you don't want to give them the goods? Do you think you can leave Japan alive?" "Wen Xiao, I don't recommend you do that. It's just a Buddha's head. No matter how expensive it is, it has a price. In the future, we might get a second, a third, or even better things. But you only have one life. It doesn't seem worth it to gamble your life for a Buddha's head, right? Something worth more than 300 million isn't worth gambling with your life." Wen Xiao smiled slightly. "All of you are betting your lives. When you decided to steal this Buddha head, you all bet your lives." Yiwen Guang narrowed his eyes. These words made sense. They were indeed gambling with their lives, purely gambling with their lives. But as long as this thing left Shenzhen, they would have won the gamble with their lives. It was that simple. They didn't think it was that dangerous. The real danger was during tomb raiding and delivery. Both sides were really risking their lives. Their middle operation was the safest, but it was also the most indispensable. If that's the case, then we're gambling with our lives every day. The things we've done are enough to sentence us to death 10 times over. Yiwen Guang smiled. "Wen Xiao, do you know what this warehouse is for? Do you know how many people have died here?" Wen Xiao was startled. "From the first day I came here, I smelled the scent of blood here. This place. To put it nicely, it's an operating room. To put it bluntly, it's a slaughterhouse." Yiwen Guang said, "In this room, we've taken thousands of kidneys. Buying and selling human organs is also illegal, but this place is also very big. There are too many ignorant people. They only need a mobile phone to sell their kidneys to us." Wen Xiao frowned. "If you want to blame someone, blame Jobs. If it weren't for him, there wouldn't be so many young people willing to sell their kidneys in Huaxia." After a pause, Wen Xiao said, "You sell human organs. Does anyone buy them?" "Of course not in China. The investigation is very strict in China. Organs that are really used in medicine have very strict procedures. We can't sell them." Yiwen Guang said, "Ship them out and sell them. Put them in a greenhouse box that's suitable for human organs to survive for 72 hours. They can be sold as soon as they're sold. It's easy to make money. But what if it's not sold in 72 hours?" Wen Xiao said, This thing can't be taken out immediately after ordering, right? Of course, it's taken out immediately. Yi Wanguang said, I just need to release the news that I'm taking in kidneys, and someone will come to my door. If no one comes, then we'll find 2 girls to help us cheat the prey to our door, and then do it. Also, if you don't want to spend any money, you can find a homeless person who's alone, knock him out, and bring him back. All the useful organs in his body can be used. Anyway, no one will care about the death of a homeless person. How ruthless. These people really deserve to be killed. No wonder there were almost no homeless people in Shenzhen. Those that he saw were all organized and disciplined beggars' gangs. Those people's annual salaries easily exceeded those of high-ranking white-collar workers. Real homeless people, real scavengers, and real pitiful people had long been killed by these evildoers. Not even their bones were left. Indeed, there are organs that can't be sent out in time and end up being wasted. Yi Wanguang sighed, then we can only deal with them at a cheaper price. There are many rich people now, and they have all kinds of food. Moreover, they all believe in the saying, what you eat nourishes you. Things like kidneys and brains are still quite popular. Wen Xiao was a little disgusted. He had been in Southeast Asia for so long, and he had seen all kinds of bad situations. He had also seen people who ate human flesh when they were starving. However, things like organs and brains, even the mercenaries who had survived the bloody storm did not dare to touch them easily. It was really too disgusting. He did not expect that there would be so many people in Huaxia who were even more disgusting than the Japanese. They said that the Japanese were disgusting and dared to eat anything. They even dared to eat unborn children from abortions. Now, some of the rich people in Huaxia were really going all out and dared to eat. The things that you do, to be honest, are worse than pigs and dogs. Wen Xiao sneered. Do you think that there are more abominable criminals than you in this society? Stealing national treasures, stealing human organs, doing these kinds of business, aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? You're almost losing your humanity. After saying that, Wen Xiao even joked, I think that the deepest place of the 18 levels of hell is reserved for you, right? There are really no more abominable criminals than you. Yi Wanguang really did not think much of it. Of course there are more abominable criminals than us. With them around, we will never be able to go to the deepest level of hell. Wen Xiao was stunned. Seeing that Yi Wanguang was quite righteous, his curiosity was also aroused. He really did not know what kind of people could make Yi Wanguang and the rest feel that they were more abominable than them. Who can be more abominable than you? Wen Xiao was stunned for a moment. Human traffickers who abduct and sell children. Yi Wanguang said, they are even more abominable. They are hijacking the fate of a child, much more abominable than us. Needless to say, Wen Xiao did not disagree with this answer at all. Chapter 1990. Recently, WeChat and Weibo had been flooded with posts of insisting on the death penalty for child trafficking. It had almost swept across the internet, and people were discussing this topic all the time. Although this matter might be a marketing method by a certain network to exploit people's psychology, the topic itself was indeed worthy of people's careful consideration. Those criminals who harmed the lives of others were sentenced to death, but why were those who harmed the lives of children not sentenced to death? An associate professor named Lu something at Northwest University for Nationalities also said that many netizens' expressions tended to be emotional, which was a kind of follower and vassal state. It was the mob phenomenon of mass psychology. When people felt that they could not go against the law, they were more willing to express their dissatisfaction through this kind of catharsis. Follower? Vassal? Why didn't people actively follow and vassal other things? Mob catharsis? Because of this sentence, Wen Xiao did not admit that this guy was a *T professor. Also, those *T experts, if they let the traffickers take away all the children in their families, they would not think that this proposal was unreliable. What did that professor from the University of Political Science and Law say? He said that the proposal of the death penalty for all traffickers who abducted women and children was very unreliable, had no theoretical basis, and was contrary to the spirit of the law. He said that if all traffickers were sentenced to death, not only would the criminals have the mentality of having nothing left to lose, but they would also become outlaws. Anyway, abducting one person is a death penalty, abducting two people is also a death penalty. But if they were not sentenced to death, would the traffickers stop after abducting one person? They did not stop, right? Traffickers who abducted children were all F***king gangs. Then should the murderers not be sentenced to death? Killing one person was also death. Killing two people was also death. The murderers were sentenced to death because they had nothing left to lose? That was why they became outlaws. Bullshit. All of this was bullshit. Child trafficking destroyed lives, and was more abominable than murderers who destroyed other people's lives. A human life could not be taken away, but could it be that a human life could be understood if it was taken away? What did it mean that the plot was not serious? For the trafficked children and the families of the trafficked children, this was the most F***king serious plot. Kidnapping someone else's child was more painful than killing himself. How could it be that the plot wasn't serious? Yes, everyone knows the law. For the ringleader of a criminal group that abducts and sells children, the principal offender or recidivist with serious circumstances, the theft of infants, the abduction of children, the abduction of children, the abduction of children abroad with serious circumstances, the abduction of children for many times, causing casualties, or other serious circumstances, they will be severely punished according to law. If the circumstances are especially serious, they will be sentenced to death according to law. Was this the only way to sentence him to death? How many criminals who abducted children had the mentality of, I won't die if I abduct one child. At most, I'll be sentenced to a few years in prison. When they abducted a second child, their mentality was still, I won't be sentenced to death if I abduct two children. At most, I'll be sentenced to 12 years in prison. Mentality? Which moral professor was talking about mentality? Then everyone can talk to him about their attitudes. Everyone knew how to analyze a person's state of mind, and whoever analyzed it would be the one who was right. In fact, this matter was as simple as that. It was fine if the experts felt that this matter should not be sentenced to death, but there was no need to preach to others with that bullshit logic of moral coercion. It was wrong to say that the theory of the death penalty was wrong. There was no right or wrong in this. Even if there was right or wrong, it did not necessarily mean that what the experts said was right. Of course, the experts would use the phrase, the truth is always on the side of the minority, to speak. Everyone knew why the professors were called beasts by netizens, and why the experts were called experts by netizens. Why did everyone not make fun of others? It was because the experts had let out too many tasteless farts, and said too many disgusting and hateful conclusions. That was why they were called experts by others. A conservative estimate was that there were 200,000 missing children in Hua every year. Now, a child was the darling of at least 6 adults. How many families would be torn apart by 200,000 missing children? The online survey was also out. 60,000 netizens participated in the survey, and 81.3% of the participants agreed with the death penalty for child abduction. Teacher Huang Lei's Weibo also said, I support the death penalty. Especially the buyers. As parents, kill them on sight. How many parents had these words spoken in their hearts? Even a criminal like Yi Wanguang, who had done so many heartless things, felt that human traffickers were more abominable than they were. Even a damned piece of trash like him was more humane than those experts. At least, that was what Wen Xiao felt. In terms of the heavy punishment rate, the heavy punishment rate for intentional homicide was 82.2%. The heavy punishment rate for kidnapping was 79.33%, and the heavy punishment rate for child abduction was 56.59%. Perhaps some of the experts were starting to say that this was very high. It was even higher than the rape and drug-related underworld gangs. If Su Yun were in front of these experts, he would definitely give them a tight slap and ask them why they were so high. Was there a big difference between child abduction and kidnapping? F***ck, kidnapping still knew how to ask for a ransom and not kill the child. If the child abductors only sold the child for such a small amount of money, they might as well ask the parents to buy the child back. As parents, they would rather encounter a kidnapper and ask for 100,000 or 80,000 to redeem the child than to have the child taken to an unknown place. Selling the child for 30 to 50,000 was already considered high. Some even sold for 3 to 5,000. Using animals as an analogy to human traffickers was an insult to the word animals. Director Chan of the Ministry of Public Security's Anti-Abduction Office had already said that due to the huge harm caused by child abduction, the death penalty should be applied to serious human traffickers in accordance with the law to deter crime. Those experts continued to argue. Don't use the means of moral coercion and don't use the social trend. Those were too far-fetched excuses. Let's talk about the facts. Those experts who believed that human traffickers should not be given the death penalty were a bunch of F***king inhumane dogs. They felt that they did not know their F***king surname after wearing the hat of experts. If their children were really abducted and sold, they would definitely shout louder than the other. They would definitely support killing those damn human traffickers more than the other. As long as the matter did not involve them, it was a small matter. This was the basic principle of experts. Second boss, do you think that the death penalty for child trafficking should be supported? Wen Xiao smiled slightly. I support it. I definitely support it too. I will be sentenced to death if I am caught. There is no discussion. If they don't sentence me to death, I will not be convinced. Yi Wenguang said, if human traffickers are not given the death penalty, the law will have no dignity at all. Who will be afraid? Wen Xiao nodded. I think that the next time you deal with human organs, you should deal with those experts. Without them, the internet will be much cleaner. There will not be so many people scolding you. Instead, they will say that you are being extreme. They are the ones who are forcing the netizens to be extreme, and they are the ones who are playing the blame game. Ha ha, this is a good suggestion. I will really consider it. Yi Wenguang laughed. Chapter 1991. Wan Xiao and Yi Wenguang were discussing whether human traffickers should be given the death penalty. Soon, Yi Wenqing joined in. Yi Wenqing was much more inhumane. He had done too many inhumane things on a daily basis. Perhaps he really did not feel sad about it. Isn't it just kidnapping a few children? What's the big deal? I really can't deal with you people. What's there to be angry about? I think those experts are right. If everything is given the death penalty, how can people do anything? Yi Wenqing smiled inhumanely. I think the experts should call for the elimination of the death penalty in the entire society. Learn from other countries and protect human rights. No matter what the crime is, the death penalty should not be given. That's the best. Wan Xiao grinned and snorted disdainfully. If you were given a chance, you would definitely do it, right? Why can't I? Since the cost of committing a crime is so low, why can't I do it? Yi Wenqing said, if I'm given a chance, I'll do it. I'm not afraid of offending people. Even the experts are protecting me. The human traffickers are really lucky. Are you stupid? Yi Wenguang said, now that the call for the death penalty is so loud, even if the human traffickers don't die, they won't have a good ending. Yi Wenqing said, we don't have a good ending either. I don't know if any experts will speak up for us. The two bosses began to discuss, and the atmosphere in the warehouse became much livelier. It seemed that this topic was not only discussed by ordinary people. Even among the criminals, some of them were extremely disgusted by the people who kidnapped children. The things they did were inhumane enough, but they felt that the people who kidnapped children were even more inhumane than them. Obviously, the problem of human nature did not need to be analyzed by experts. People who kidnapped other people's children were absolutely inhumane. They were not human at all. It would not be an exaggeration to use them for barbecue. However, no one would be willing to try that kind of stinky meat, right? Sometimes, human nature can change in the blink of an eye. When Xiao said, let's go online and take a look. I don't know if those damn experts have come up with any new ideas. When Xiao said that, everyone's first action was to pull out their phones. In this society dominated by the humble people, mobile phones had become an indispensable thing for people. It was just like how foreigners said Hua Xia people. For foreigners, the internet was just a part of life, but for Hua Xia people, it was their everything. When Xiao began to nag, the law is rigid. Since the abduction of children is a crime, we cannot be merciful to any part of it. Being lenient with the briber would lead to the ambiguity of the nature of the bribe and the loss of the dignity of the law. The biggest consequence of bribing a child would be the loss of both the child and the money. Only when the crime of child trafficking is dealt with by the law can the act of buying children be curbed. If there is no transaction, there is no harm. This saying makes sense. If there is no purchase, there is no sale. In that case, the buyers are the root of the problem. They should be punished even more severely. Yi Wenguang also started to read the news on his phone. Yi Wenqing said disdainfully, "She bought a child and didn't kidnap him. She paid for it and probably wanted to take good care of the child. Is there a need to punish her so harshly? What do you know? This is called legal deterrence. If the crime of buying a child is the death penalty and the whole family is implicated, then you see who would dare to buy a child. If there are people who buy a child, the whole family around them who are afraid of being implicated will also stand up and sue them. That way, the abducted child can be recovered 100%. Although Yi Wenguang's words were extreme, it was really a good idea. Ah Ku and the other bodyguards, who were originally quiet, were all moved by this topic. They expressed that this matter really needed to be discussed. In fact, some people did not deserve to die, but some people definitely deserve to die. These people who definitely deserve to die should be killed as soon as possible. When everyone was brought into this topic, when Xiao realized that his chance had come. He appeared to be looking at the information on the crime of child abduction on his phone, but in fact, he had already logged into the football forum and replied to all the information he had received so far in the form of a password. Most people would not be able to understand the series of numbers, but those who knew the password could all clearly see the information that Wen Xiao had given them. This information was too important. Wan Xiao had already judged his position and distance from Shenzhong International Airport based on the direction he had seen the plane. This place was also a muddy place that he had to pass through. This was because there would be mud on the wheels of every car that came here. These things were all very, very important information. Of course, there was another very important piece of information, which was that the golden Buddha head was indeed in the hands of the people from Ju Kai Group. This golden Buddha head, which was full of archaeological value, had a very profound significance to the importance of gold in human history. After Wan Xiao had posted all these information, he quickly cleared the browsing history on his phone and continued to look at the news on child trafficking. He scolded, "Another *T expert has spoken." He said that the crime of child trafficking must be dealt with by the law and not by a group of rogue netizens. He also said that publicly posting such information is a form of cyberviolence, a form of cybercrime. *T. What he posted is not cyberviolence. Other people's words are cybercrimes? Yi Wenguang was not interested in these experts at all. Huaxia is a country with freedom of speech. This expert is obviously vaguely scolding the country. He said that our Huaxia is not a country with freedom of speech. This is anti-government behavior. Wen Xiao said, "I think this kind of expert should be severely punished by the country." Punish them. It's best to kill all the experts who call themselves experts. Yi Wenqing said disdainfully, "At that time, the laws and such will be decided by online voting. What death penalty or not, there's no need for the judge to decide. Just let the online society vote." Yi Wenguang was stunned. Then I guess any crime can be sentenced to death. After all, most people hope to live in a world without crime. Then that's it. Yi Wenqing said, "It's still that the netizens are unreliable." That's not necessarily true. If the netizens really vote to decide the sentence, the rich people will not be punished. Spend money to hire a water army. 5 cents per vote. Buy it so cheaply. Wen Xiao said, "Then there's too much room for fraud." The two of them nodded, indicating that these words were reliable. It was really like this. If the netizens were to vote, many people who usually spoke righteously would really speak nonsense for the sake of benefits. There were probably only a few people who would dare to speak the truth with a straight back. The human heart was not what it used to be. In this society, what was trustworthy? Yi Wanguang and Yi Wanqing, these two people who were usually so cautious, were dragged into the pit by Wen Xiao because of a hot topic on the internet. Wen Xiao had already conveyed all the information, but they were still arguing whether all the human traffickers should be executed directly. Chapter 1992. Su Yun received a call from Wan Guangxiao in the early hours of the morning. Because he had been messing around with Qin Waner for too long, he couldn't control himself and did some things that normal men and women should do when they were alone. Therefore, Su Yun was sleeping soundly. Even when he heard the sound of the phone, he was too lazy to move. Hello. Instead, Qin Waner reached out and picked up the phone on the bedside table. She directly connected the call for Su Yun. Wan Guangxiao was stunned on the other side of the phone. He looked at the number he dialed. There was no mistake. He was sure that he wasn't muddle-headed. Say something. Calling in the middle of the night and not saying anything. Is there something wrong with your brain? Qin Waner was also very tired after making love. She couldn't even open her eyes. Her tone began to become impatient. Are you a scammer? You really found the right person. I am a police officer. Wan Guangxiao suddenly realized that the girl who answered the phone was probably Qin Waner. It seemed that Su Yun was really good at both. Not bad. Is it Miss Qin? I am looking for Su Yun for an urgent matter. Can you help me get him to answer the phone? Was I recognized? Qin Waner was a lot more awake. She was indeed a little confused. At this time, she also realized that she was answering the phone call from Su Yun. However, she was completely unfamiliar with the voice of the person on the phone. How did the other party know her? With a series of doubts in her heart, Qin Waner kicked Su Yun awake. She directly threw the phone to Su Yun and pointed at it with a nervous face. Su Yun yawned and picked up the phone. Who is it? It's in the middle of the night. Can't you let me sleep? Kid, you must understand that you are going to Shenzhen for a mission, not for a honeymoon, Wan Guangxiao said. Being young is not the capital to indulge in sex. You still need to control yourself. Su Yun heard the voice and became alert. Chief, is there something urgent? Of course. Wan Guangxiao said, I am not mentally weak. Why would I not sleep at this time? I'm here to inform you of Wen Zhao's current situation. You must act immediately. Turn on your phone's GPS and find the place according to Wen Zhao's information. Secretly observe the situation and act according to the situation. Dragon's Fury's brothers will look for you based on your location. You must not be impulsive and expose your identity. Understood. Su Yun nodded. He was completely focused. Since Wen Xiao had transmitted the situation, it meant that the time was ripe. Wan Guangxiao did not hesitate. About 15 kilometers southwest of Shenzhen International Airport. The target building is a warehouse that covers an area of at least 1,500 square meters. The road conditions outside the warehouse are not good. We have to pass through a muddy area. Su Yun quickly recorded all the information that Wan Guangxiao had told him in his mind. Qin Waner, who was beside him, could not sit still anymore. When she heard that there was a task on the other side of the phone, she quickly got up and leaned over to listen. There are now 13 people in the warehouse. They are all experts. You cannot force your way in. After all, it is difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. You must wait for reinforcements. Wan Guangxiao continued, if reinforcements do not arrive and an unexpected situation occurs, you have the right to make judgments and adjustments at any time. The premise is that your personal safety is guaranteed. Understood. Wan Guangxiao continued, there is a pure gold Buddha's head in the warehouse. It weighs about 150 kilograms. It was stolen from the ancient tomb by the people of the Jutsai group. It is classified as a national first-class cultural relic. You must ensure that this thing is intact. You must not let the other party take away the national treasure. The people of the Jutsai group can only be convicted if they are caught with the stolen goods. You must grasp the opportunity to catch them. Su Yun was very seriously using his brain to record this information. These things were, of course, very important to him. Also, this is only the situation in the warehouse. Whether there are people outside the warehouse is unknown. Therefore, you must be careful and take every step carefully. Wan Guangxiao finally reminded him, do not waste all your previous efforts. Remember, be careful. Chief, don't worry. I am not the impulsive Yen Long like before. Su Yun smiled slightly. I will definitely cooperate with Wen Xiao and strive to complete the mission successfully. Wan Guangxiao believed that Su Yun had this ability. Good. Take advantage of the cover of the night and start the operation now. Your brothers have already prepared and set off. I believe that they will bring you reinforcements in time. Yes, Chief. I promise to complete the mission. Su Yun made a military pledge. After hanging up the phone, Su Yun pulled up his pants. When he quickly put on his clothes and was about to say goodbye to Qin Wan, he found that Qin Wan had already put on her clothes and was standing at the door. She was waiting to go out with him. Su Yun stared at her. What is this situation? Aren't you wearing one more than me? Why are you wearing it faster than me? Su Yun, hurry up. Don't talk nonsense. I heard it all. About 15 kilometers southwest of Shenzhen International Airport. The target building is a warehouse with an area of at least 1,500 square meters. We will go now. Why are you going? This is my mission. Su Yun, you only heard the front part. You didn't hear the back part, right? There are 13 people inside. A lot of experts. Won't you be giving me trouble if you go? I won't give you trouble. I will definitely be able to help you, Qin Wan said confidently. I promise that I will listen to your arrangements when I get there. I will obey all your orders unconditionally. Su Yun rolled her eyes. I'm ordering you not to come with me now, but you won't listen. When we get there, it'll be too late for you to not listen to me. Do you think I'll knock you out? If I don't listen to your orders when we get there, you can knock me out. I have absolutely no objection. Qin Wan said, but you have to take me there. I am a police officer. I have the right to intervene in the fight against the evil forces in the city I am in charge of. I really want to knock you out now. Su Yun was speechless. If you knock me out now, it will be called assaulting a police officer. Qin Wan said, don't talk nonsense. If you don't go now, it will be too late. It was impossible to get rid of this little tail. Su Yun knew very well that if he didn't bring Qin Wan with him, Qin Wan would find her way to the address she heard. That would be more dangerous. At least if he brought Qin Wan with him, Su Yun could guarantee her safety. You have to listen to my orders, Su Yun said seriously, otherwise, I will really dare to assault a police officer. I am a dog if I lie to you. Qin Wan couldn't wait. Cracking the Jutsai criminal group had been her wish since she came to Shenzhen. Finally, she had the opportunity. Of course, she wouldn't let go of this opportunity. It wasn't for any merit or performance. It was purely for the social stability of Shenzhen. The Jutsai group was a knot in Qin Wan-er's heart. If she didn't destroy it, she wouldn't be able to sleep or eat. This was her opportunity. It was also the opportunity for all the brothers and sisters in the Shenzhen police. As long as the Jutsai group was destroyed, the social stability of Shenzhen would rise to another level. Let's go. Let's go. Su Yun no longer refused Qin Wan-er's request. He directly took her with him. Chapter 1993. According to the address given by Wan Guangxiao and Su Yun's directions, Qin Wan-er quickly found a remote place 10 kilometers southwest of the international airport. The muddy road made people lose the desire to cross it. Moreover, the muddy road was very long and there were no potholes. It was impossible to judge the depth of the muddy road at a glance. All they could see was a yellow muddy soup. Qin Wan looked at the muddy road and quickly stopped. Who knew if the car could come out after driving in? Can the car pass through here? It hasn't rained in Shenzhen for the past few days. The weather is quite dry. How can there be a muddy wetland here for no reason? Su Yun, don't you think it goes against scientific common sense? Qin Wan nodded. It did go against scientific common sense. Then what do you think is the situation? Someone deliberately made such a muddy road. Even if passers-by saw it, they would choose to take a detour. No one dares to go through such a muddy area. Su Yun, but I dare say that it is definitely not deep. It is definitely not a problem for the car to pass through. Then let's go. Qin Wan's temper was still quite impatient. Without saying anything, she was ready to rush through the muddy road. Don't drive the car away. Su Yun, since the other party prepared so carefully, if we drive through this place, their people will definitely notice. And, if we drive the car over, the engine will make a sound. It will be difficult to find the place to hide the car. Qin Wan grinned and said, Then you are going to cross the muddy road later? Are you stupid? Su Yun, find a place to park the car. Why do we have to go through this place when we are walking here? There are so many places without mud. Although cars can't pass through, people can pass through. If you want to cross the muddy road, I don't mind. But don't bring me along. I am a clean freak. Qin Wan quickly turned around and drove the car away. She found a safe place to hide the car. Then, the two of them came to the same place again. After bypassing the muddy area, Su Yun saw a large warehouse not far away. There were many 360-degree infrared night vision explosion-proof monitors hanging outside the warehouse. Each of these monitors was very expensive. Unless this warehouse was very important, what was the point of having these monitors in such a remote and simple place? If there weren't any treasures in this warehouse, then the most expensive thing in this place would probably be this surveillance device. Weren't they afraid that a thief would steal these surveillance cameras? Be careful. Follow behind me and don't act on your own. Those surveillance cameras are all on a 360-degree loop. There are almost no blind spots around the warehouse, Su Yun said. If our identities are exposed, all our previous efforts will be in vain. Qin Wan nodded. Don't talk so much nonsense. I know when to do what. Didn't your chief say that we are only responsible for keeping watch and waiting for reinforcements? Yo, I really can't tell that you have matured a lot. Su Yun grinned. If it was the old Qin Wan, he was afraid that she would have gone to catch criminals alone. Time and society could slowly erase a person's edges and corners. Qin Wan's edges and corners were finally being erased little by little. Be careful when you carry out the mission. Focus. Qin Wan gave Su Yun a lesson. This is not a spring outing. Don't be so distracted. Fine. You can just lead me. Su Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They had come to this place in the middle of the night just to seize the opportunity under the night sky. The rest of the task was to hide. There was nothing else they could do. Hiding was to wait for things to take a turn for the better. As long as things took a turn for the better, he would be able to figure out the situation immediately. Now, this was Su Yun's main task. As for Qin Wan, Su Yun really didn't know what she could do, but she wouldn't cause trouble for him. Su Yun looked at the time. He only hoped that the brothers of Dragon's Fury could arrive at the scene a little earlier. Then, it would be easier for him to command the battle. Wan Guangxiao was right. It was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. There were so many masters on the other side. Even if he was strong, it would be meaningless. Even if he could beat those people, he couldn't control the scene. If he couldn't make the 3 brothers of Jutsai group catch them red-handed, then this mission would be tantamount to a failure. A failed mission would be meaningless. Su Yun had to use his brain to solve the problem. He had to use the simplest method to solve the most complicated problem. This was to calm his heart. Wan, we have to keep watching this place. We can't do anything. Can you handle it? Su Yun said, in fact, I can handle this matter alone. You don't have to come to this place with me to suffer. It is completely meaningless. Otherwise, you can go back first. When I really want to arrest them, I will contact you. At that time, we will meet up and attack them from both sides. Qin Wan shook her head. There is no need. Who can I attack from both sides? I can't go to the police station to find help. Who knows who their people are? I will just follow you and solve the situation at the scene. As long as the situation at the scene is solved, everything else will be fine. Then you have to stay here with me. Maybe 8 hours, maybe 10 hours, or maybe 16 hours. Or even more. Su Yun said, don't eat or drink. I can hold on, Qin Wan said seriously. And you can't go to the toilet. Su Yun said again, if I can't hold it in, I can take it out at any time and solve it anywhere. I am afraid you. If you don't eat or drink, how can you have so many toilets to use? Qin Wan stared at him. Her whole face was blushing because of Su Yun's words. Su Yun, this guy really. Why did he have so much to say? They would face many difficulties when carrying out any mission, so this small matter was nothing. Su Yun was relieved and smiled. If you have this awareness, then there will be no problem. Just when the two of them found a relatively safe place to hide, the door of the warehouse was suddenly opened. The lights inside directly drilled out, and a few people walked out together. Su Yun and Qin Wan couldn't help but be surprised. It was already so late, and the people inside were still awake? Was Wen Xiao really inside? The few people who came out of the warehouse all walked to the side and stood in a row to relieve themselves. It seemed that they had been holding it in for a long time. Su Yun and Qin Wan vaguely heard two people arguing about something like, must be shot. These people's awareness was really high. They knew that they would be shot if they committed a crime. Since they knew, why did they still commit a crime? Knowing that there was a tiger in the mountain, but still going to the tiger's mountain? This was not a brave act. It was ridiculous. In fact, these people were still discussing whether or not the child trafficking should be shot. Wen Xiao was tired from this topic, but these people still wanted to continue. It could be seen that they just wanted to find a group of criminals who were more abominable than them. Okay, it is not up to us to decide whether or not to be shot. Why are we blindly worrying about this? Wan Guang was a bit tired. We just need to do our job. As long as we are not caught, we will not be shot. Knowing this is enough. Chapter 1994. After they emptied the water, the door of the warehouse was closed again. Only a trace of light could be seen through the gap between the door and the ground. Su Yun had seen the situation in the warehouse. Because there were several cars in the warehouse, he did not see how many people were inside. Did you see Wen Xiao? Qin Wan asked nervously. No. Su Yun shook his head. Our angle is not good, but this should be the safest place to hide. Other places are too easy to be exposed. Qin Wan said excitedly, the angle is good. I saw it. I saw it from my position. I saw Wen Xiao. Really? Su Yun was stunned. You're not bragging on purpose, are you? Are you jealous? Qin Wan said. What is there to brag about? I saw it. From my angle, I passed through the gap between two cars and saw Wen Xiao sitting on a bed. Su Yun opened his mouth. On a bed? Yes, there is a bed in here. Did you not see it? Qin Wan said. There was a bed in the warehouse? Su Yun could not believe it, but he trusted Qin Wan's words. Are they planning to settle down in here? Then how many days do we have to stay in this damn place? If there is no movement by tomorrow night, I will leave first to prepare water and food for you. Qin Wan said, you have to keep an eye on this place 24/7. No one knows when they will take action. Su Yun nodded. What Qin Wan said made sense. Even if he had to keep an eye on this place for 3 days, 5 days, or a week or a month, he had to keep an eye on it. The action that had started could not be stopped. When Xiao was still suffering for his life, Su Yun could not be careless. Su Yun, you don't regret bringing me here, do you? Qin Wan said proudly. If I did not come with you, you would be in big trouble. Let me tell you. I really have to thank you for taking the initiative to provide logistic support. Su Yun smiled. I thought you would keep an eye on them and ask me to prepare food and water for you. Qin Wan snorted. You don't say. If the GPS wasn't set on your phone, but mine, I would have asked you to do the logistics. Do you think I want to run errands for you? I have no choice but to do this. Tisk. TSK. TSK. What you said is meaningless. Su Yun, revolution doesn't discriminate between high and low, work doesn't discriminate between important and unimportant. Neither of us can do without the other. That's more like it. Qin Wan nodded and said, let's take turns. There's no point in staring at each other. You should sleep for a while. You should sleep first. How could Su Yun let a woman be on duty while he slept? Just sleep if I tell you to. Qin Wan said, you wasted a lot of energy and physical strength tonight. You should have a good rest. In case there is an emergency, you need to do more things. You can do it more reliably than me. After saying this, Qin Wan looked a little embarrassed. Su Yun certainly knew what she meant by energy and physical strength. This is mutual. You wasted as much as I wasted. Su Yun did not know how to respond. Although he had done what he needed to do, he still felt a little embarrassed. Qin Wan blushed. I basically took it. I didn't take the initiative. I didn't waste so much energy. You must have been tired when you were up there. Qin Wan's heartbeat accelerated. Okay, can you not say it so directly? We are still on a mission. Shut up. Go to sleep. Yes, sir. Su Yun quickly shut up. If he kept talking, Qin Wan would probably fall out with him. Wait a minute, didn't she say that after reaching this place, everything would be under his command? How come it was the other way around? Qin Wan not only did not listen to his orders, but she also became the one giving orders. However, it was still a small matter. Su Yun should sleep for a while. Qin Wan should still be in a state of excitement. This was because they had just found the nest. After 2 or 3 hours, Qin Wan's excitement would die down. She would definitely feel tired and sleepy. This was a very normal phenomenon. Su Yun should wait until then to replace her. He should seize the time to get a good sleep. He could still force himself to rest. Qin Wan's heartbeat was very fast. On one hand, it was because she was shy. She also thought of her performance when she was in charge. She was indeed a little unreserved. But she could not blame him. No one could be reserved in that kind of situation. Doing it without permission was a crazy thing. The human body would not deceive itself. When the body wanted to do it, it could not control its excitement. Seeing that Su Yun had entered a dormant state, Qin Wan forcibly pulled her thoughts back to reality. She had to be cautious. She could not relax for a minute or a second to face the current situation. The night was so quiet that it was scary. However, Qin Wan did not feel it at all. She was excited all the time. She saw the dawn of breaking this large-scale criminal gang. This was something that made her feel extremely excited. As long as she could destroy the Jutsai group, she was willing to work hard. This strength made Qin Wan quickly cheer up. She stared at the warehouse with her eyes wide open. In this way, 2 hours passed very quickly. Qin Wan's spirit had been weakening all the time. If there was a little movement now, Qin Wan could cheer up. However, too much comfort made Qin Wan unable to hold on. She was really too sleepy. She almost did not sleep that night. She had just done it with Su Yun for more than 2 hours. She had only closed her eyes for half an hour when she was woken up by the phone. Then, until now, she had persisted for a long time. If she had not been crazy with Su Yun for 2 hours, she would not have felt so tired now. Sleep for a while. She did not know when, but Su Yun had already woken up. When he saw Qin Wan who was holding back her sleepiness, he felt a little distressed. The profession of the police was really not suitable for a girl, especially for a girl like Qin Wan who was serious and responsible. Qin Wan yawned. Then you have to watch carefully. I will seize the time to rest for a while. If you are sleepy, call me. As she spoke, Qin Wan laid her head down and closed her eyes. She was really sleepy. When Su Yun gave her support, she quickly fell into a deep sleep. If Su Yun was not there, she would definitely be able to hold on. That was her duty. However, when Su Yun was there, the situation she faced was different. Her mentality was also different. Looking at Qin Wan sleeping with her eyes closed, Su Yun had a feeling of overturning a bottle of mixed feelings in his heart. The warehouse was still quiet, and the night was beginning to brighten. Su Yun looked at the time. It was already 4:30 in the morning. In another half an hour, the sky would be basically bright. Su Yun scanned his surroundings once more to ascertain the safety of this location before finally feeling at ease. Chapter 1995. When Qin Wan opened her eyes, the sky was completely bright. She had slept quite well. When she saw that Su Yun's eyes were slightly bloodshot, she felt quite apologetic. Didn't I tell you to let me take over for you if you are sleepy? Sure. Su Yun was focused on the warehouse and did not notice that Qin Wan had woken up. He only realized it when he heard Qin Wan speak. Qin Wan knew that something must have happened. She quickly quieted down and followed Su Yun's gaze. There was indeed something strange at the warehouse. 2 huge SUVs and a black business car slowly appeared. When the cars just arrived at the warehouse door, the door of the warehouse opened. The 3 cars directly drove in and the warehouse door closed again. I recognize that black Mercedes-Benz business car. Qin Wan lowered her voice and said, that car belongs to Yi Wanyang, the president of Jutsai Group. He especially likes the Mercedes-Benz brand. He has Mercedes-Benz business cars, Mercedes-Benz sedans, and Mercedes-Benz SUVs. He has them all. Su Yun had an idea in his heart. Since the boss had appeared, it would be easy to deal with. Don't all big bosses who like Mercedes-Benz directly drive an S-Class car? Yi Fala also likes Mercedes-Benz. Su Yun said, this business car is not very impressive. Yi Wanyang has never done things in a high-profile manner. I think he might have taken this car so that fewer people would notice him. Qin Wan said, a car that costs less than $1 million is really too low-key for someone of his status. On the streets of Shenzhen, cars of this level are not rare at all. Su Yun nodded. 3 cars just went in. There were originally 3 or 4 cars in the warehouse. He is going to have a meeting. If even Yi Wanyang is there, then Yi Wanguang and Yi Wanqing must be there too. Qin Wan said, are they going to do something big? No matter what they do today, as long as they leave here, there will definitely be a problem. Su Yun said, in a while, if they move, I will find a way to follow them. You will drive away later. You must not let them notice us. Qin Wan nodded. Can you follow? Of course, I have my ways. Su Yun said, Yi Wanyang's possession of a national treasure like the Buddha's head must be a hot potato for him. He will definitely sell it as soon as possible. Now that so many experts have gathered here, my intuition tells me that something is going to happen. Qin Wan became nervous. She hadn't been this nervous for a long time. Are they going to make a move today? If you want to ship the goods, you'll have to go by sea. That's the fastest way to reach the safe zone. As long as it's in international waters, it's impossible to get it back. Su Yun said, if there's something wrong with them, they'll definitely do something at the port today. I'll try to ask my friend at the customs at the port. Maybe I can get some information. Qin Wan took out her phone as she spoke. Su Yun stopped her. It's better not to call anyone who might be in contact with the import and export business of the Jutsai Group. I'm worried that their relationship is not ordinary. The Jutsai group hasn't let anyone catch any evidence of their crimes for so many years. It shows that they are very cautious and careful. They will be aware of any movement. Qin Wan nodded. Su Yun's words made sense. Any movement could alert the enemy. Let's wait and be patient, Su Yun said. Qin Wan kept her promise. She listened to Su Yun's words very seriously. The two of them quietly lurked in the same place. Yi Wenyang came to the warehouse again and saw that several people were listless. Lao Er and Lao San also didn't seem to have slept well. Big brother. Yi Wenguang stepped forward and said, "Are we going to ship the goods today?" "What did you do last night?" Yi Wenyang frowned. "Why are you so listless?" "We were chatting yesterday." Yi Wenxing yawned. "Big brother, do you think that all child traffickers should be sentenced to death?" Yi Wenyang glared fiercely at Lao San. "I don't know if all child traffickers should be sentenced to death, but I know very well that we will definitely be sentenced to death if we are caught. At this time, you still have the mind to care about child traffickers? Care more about yourselves." Yi Wenxing was not in the mood to be scolded. He was too lazy to care about child traffickers. Who knew why they talked about this topic yesterday? Yi Wenguang knew that his big brother hated to be distracted when doing things. He quickly stepped forward and said, "Big brother, we are all ready. When can we ship the goods? Is it today?" Yi Wenyang glanced at Yi Wenguang and knew that he definitely didn't rest well. Fortunately, Wen Zhao's spirit was not bad, so Yi Wenyang was relieved. Wen Zhao's spirit was, of course, good. After he started the topic yesterday, he did what he needed to do. Then, he plugged his ears and went to sleep. He was too lazy to argue with them about this issue. Was there a need to argue about this issue? Child traffickers should be executed directly. He thought so. "Wen Xiao, are you ready?" Yi Wenyang did not care about the others. As long as Wen Xiao was ready, everything would be fine. Wen Xiao nodded. "Of course I'm ready. I can't wait. I can get the money after the goods are shipped, right?" "As long as the goods arrive safely, you won't be short of a single cent," Yi Wenyang said. "Our ship will send you to the high seas to meet Black Crow. Black Crow will bring you to Dongying to meet the buyer. The buyer can take out so much money. I believe he is a person of status in Dongying. You must be careful." Yi Wenguang also said, "Wen Xiao, there is a saying that a strong dragon cannot defeat a snake in its old haunts. You must be careful when you reach Dongying. The other party might not have good intentions. If he doesn't pay the other half of the price, you must guarantee that you will bring the Buddha head back." Wen Xiao sneered. "Second boss, I have to protect my life first. If I can save my life, I will definitely bring the goods back. But let me say this first. If the other party wants to play dirty, I will bring the goods back. The money they paid in advance will also belong to me." "No problem." Yi Wenyang smiled. "Wen Xiao, bring the goods back and let the other party see it. Everything that belongs to me will be over. If you can bring the goods back, I am willing to give them 100 million for the advance payment." Wen Xiao was stunned. He would only get a few tens of millions after the normal transaction. But if he brought the goods back, he would get 100 million? Suddenly, Wen Xiao realized that Yi Wenyang had never thought of making a normal transaction for the Buddha head. If he could bring the goods back, he could continue to contact the other buyers. He could earn a lot of money by using such underhanded methods. And this was quite a temptation for Wen Xiao. More money could protect Wen Xiao from thinking about betrayal. It had to be said that Yi Wenyang's chess game was very big. There were many things that he did not explain clearly. Everyone had their own understanding. He believed that Wen Zhao's understanding would be able to understand what he meant. "Big boss. This seems very interesting." Wen Xiao smiled. "I won't ruin your reputation, but you still want the goods. TSK, TSK, TSK. Brilliant, really brilliant." Wen Xiao is in awe. "I'm really in awe." Yi Wenyang smiled but did not say anything. It was naturally best that Wen Xiao could understand. At this moment, Yi Wenguang and Yi Wenqing finally understood that their big brother's thinking was so far ahead. They were so shocked that they could not close their mouths. Chapter 1996. Big Brother, are we going to do it for real this time? Yi Wenqing began to understand why his elder brother insisted on Wen Xiao doing this. When Wen Xiao had asked for 15% of the profits, he had persuaded his elder brother for the whole night. He had hoped that his elder brother would consider carefully whether Wen Xiao was worth the money. It turned out that Yi Wenyang already had his own ideas at that time. He had never thought of settling this matter through normal means. It was best to let Wen Xiao do this kind of dog-eat-dog thing. Wen Xiao was originally a desperado. For benefits, he could do anything. The buyer had already given them 160 million in advance. Even if the buyer did not transfer the rest of the money, Wen Xiao could bring the item back safely. They could still earn 60 million by giving Wen Xiao 100 million. More importantly, the Buddha's head would still be in their hands. This was equivalent to getting something without risking anything. As long as Wen Xiao was strong enough. Of course, if Wen Xiao could get the buyer to transfer the money and get the item back, they would be willing to pay more. If Yi Wenqing could think of it, Wen Xiao could too. Wen Xiao was silent for a while before speaking. I'll get the buyer to pay the money. Wen Xiao said, you can give me 15% of the 320 million as usual. Yi Wenguang was stunned. Wen Xiao was not greedy. Wen Xiao, in that case, it'll only be 48 million. That's right. I want my 48 million. Wen Xiao said. Yi Wenyang was a little disappointed with Wen Xiao's actions. He did not expect this. Although he could accept this outcome, Wen Xiao might not be able to get the Buddha's head back after the deal. He might even die in Japan. However, when Wen Xiao said this, it sounded a little strange. Following that, Wen Xiao spoke again. I'll use my own method to get the Buddha's head back. But the Buddha's head will belong to me. How much do you plan to pay for it? After he said that, Yi Wenyang and his two brothers were shocked again. Wen Xiao, oh Wen Xiao. His ambition was too big. But for some reason, Yi Wenyang liked Wen Xiao's ambition. As long as Wen Xiao had enough ambition, it meant that Wen Xiao had enough strength. Okay, Wen Xiao. I knew you weren't an ordinary person. Yi Wenyang was a little excited. If you can make the other party pay the money, and then use your method to get the Buddha's head, I'm willing to buy it from you for 150 million. This price is suitable, right? 150 million, plus 48 million. Round it up and give me 200 million, and this deal is done. Wen Xiao smiled. Yi Wenqing glared at him. Wen Xiao, isn't your appetite a little too big? A total of more than 300 million yuan, and you want to eat 200 million yuan. Third brother, don't worry. The Buddha head Wen Xiao will give it to us. Yi Wenguang's eyes began to shine. Wen Xiao nodded. That's right. It's the same as you taking the Buddha's head and earning 120 million for free. Moreover, you won't lose any credibility. This is definitely a profitable business for you, right? Big boss, if you dare to nod your head, it means that you've thought it through. I won't raise the price for you. Give me 200 million for my benefits and the Buddha's head. Yi Wenyang nodded. Of course there's no problem, as long as you, Wen Xiao, can do it. It's a deal. Wen Xiao pretended to be serious, but in fact, he was just painting a big picture for Yi Wenyang. This would help Yi Wenyang to be distracted. Wen Xiao knew that he definitely couldn't bring the goods to international waters with them. Once the goods went out, he was afraid that it would be troublesome. Yi Wenyang was indeed distracted, and this was a great thing for him. Tonight at 9 o'clock, I'll arrange for you and the goods to board the merchant ship. Yi Wenyang said. I've arranged everything that needs to be arranged. No one will check. The rest is up to you. Wen Xiao nodded. I'm looking forward to it. He was looking forward to whether or not someone would come to arrest them after they boarded the ship. This was an absolute opportunity to catch them red-handed. If he missed it, he didn't know how long he would have to wait. At this time, Time was really very slow for Qin Wan. It seemed that every second was like a year. How long will they be in there? Qin Wan said. Aren't they afraid of suffocating? It's so quiet. It's really a headache. Is there going to be any movement? It's always very quiet before the storm. Su Yun said, this is a good sign. There is a 90% chance that there will be a big movement tonight. Do you dare to make a bet with me? I don't want to bet with you. Qin Wan snorted. Yesterday, she had made a bet that if she lost, she would give him a massage. In the end, when she gave Su Yun a massage, she ignited a fire of passion. In the future, she would rather die than make a bet with Su Yun. Su Yun knew that it was boring, so he didn't continue. I'm enough here. Really, you can go back. If you really want to do something, then go to the port and observe the situation. Don't fool me. I definitely won't go. I'll keep an eye on this position. Qin Wan said, even if there is a situation at the port, it will be in a place that I can't see. Furthermore, I will be keeping an eye on everything that happens here. Stubborn. Su Yun was helpless. Just like that, Qin Wan really followed Su Yun and stared outside the warehouse until the sky darkened again. So much time had passed. Su Yun estimated that the brothers of Dragon's Fury should have arrived, right? Looking around, it was very quiet. There was no sign of reinforcements. Su Yun looked at the GPS on his mobile phone. It was always on. Could it be that he had tracked the wrong signal? The sky darkened. Qin Wan's patience was almost worn out. At this time, the door of the warehouse finally opened again. This time, there was a lot of movement. Several cars drove out one after another. Su Yun and Qin Wan instantly became alert. Sure enough, as Su Yun had guessed, the calm during the day was the calm before the storm. Now, the real storm was coming. Everything would welcome a new outbreak. Su Yun, what should we do? Qin Wan saw so many cars driving out. She panicked. If they drove away, there would be no way to follow them. I will follow them. You listen to me. Drive the car later. After you leave, don't do anything. If you really can't let it go, drive to the port. Su Yun said, if there is a big movement, it means that my people are in place. You can participate. If it is calm, you have to promise me that you will leave immediately. This is my simplest request. Can you do it? Qin Wan looked at Su Yun seriously and finally nodded sincerely. She had always been a troublemaker for Su Yun. This time, she swore that she would not trouble Su Yun anymore. She wanted to be Su Yun's right-hand man. Su Yun picked up Qin Wan's hand and wrote a row of numbers on her palm. If I don't appear in front of you by tomorrow morning, call this number and tell the person who answers the phone. Su Yun said, this is an order. It is also your most difficult task. If you want to ensure that you can complete this task, your first task is to ensure your own safety. Qin Wan clenched her teeth and nodded. I will not let you down. Well, I have absolute confidence in you. Su Yun saw that the cars were about to leave his sight, so he stopped talking to Qin Wan. Qin Wan sensibly signaled Su Yun to go quickly. In this case, Su Yun could only do it himself. She could not help at all. Chapter 1997. If Su Yun wanted to follow them, he had his own way. He knew what the other party would notice. As long as he avoided those things, he could easily follow them. Looking at Su Yun's back, Qin Wan was determined. She believed that Su Yun would never let her down. She didn't need to call that number for help. Now she had to leave as soon as possible. At least she had to get to the dock faster than the other party. That way, she would have enough time to judge what the other party was going to do. But what Qin Wan didn't expect was that when she carefully came to the hiding place and drove the car on the road, a huge Ford Explorer SUV appeared in front of her. Qin Wan's first reaction was that something was wrong. But when she wanted to turn around and leave, an Audi appeared behind her and blocked her way. The two cars sandwiched Chin Wan-er in the middle, not giving her any chance to escape. The door of the Ford Explorer opened, and a figure walked out. Chin Wan-er recognized him at a glance. This person was the third boss of the Jutsai group, Yi Wenxing. Yi Wenxing looked up and down at the car that was sandwiched by them. He thought, boss is smart. He knows what to do today and is cautious in all aspects. Although they didn't notice any signs of being followed, boss still asked him to wait in the warehouse for a while before leaving to see if they would run into any stalkers. If they ran into any stalkers, his responsibility was to find a chance to kill them directly. So, when Yi Wenxing left the warehouse, he quickly noticed Chin Wan-er's shadow running to where the car was hidden. Yi Wenxing immediately ordered people to attack her from the front and the back. What are you doing? Chin Wan-er tried to calm herself down. She locked the door and only left the window open a little. Don't pretend with me. Yi Wenxing was an impatient inquirer. You came to this place in the middle of the night. Are you lost? Chin Wan-er calmly said, Yes, I am indeed lost. If you know, thank you. Help me. I only know how to get to the King of Hell, Yi Wenxing said as he walked to Chin Wan-er's window. When he looked inside, Yi Wenxing was really shocked. Oh my God! Isn't this the famous Bureau Chief Chin of Shenzhen Police Station? This little beauty actually appeared in front of him. She was someone that their Jutsai group had invited many times, but had not been able to invite out to sit together, chat, and drink together. Chin Wan-er was still very calm. If you don't know, then please make way. Ha ha ha, after all this time, it's actually Chief Chin. I really have eyes but can't see. Chief Chin, please don't take offense. Yi Wenxing said, My mouth stinks. If I have offended Chief Chin in any way, I hope that Chief Chin will forgive me. Chin Wan-er was recognized, but she didn't change her expression. It's okay. Then I'll have to trouble you to make way. But who would have thought that Yi Wenxing's expression suddenly changed, and his attitude took a 180-degree turn. B*TCH, why are you pretending in front of me? Bureau Chin? Do you think I'm AF** King idiot? Do you think I don't know about you? You are F** King scolded by the city leaders to go home and rest. Who are you pretending in front of? Yi Wenxing's attitude was bad, and Chin Wan-er stared at him. But she was alone now, and she didn't have any weapons that she could use. She had no ability to resist at all. Don't pretend in front of me. Do you dare to say that you don't know who I am? Yi Wenxing sneered. Although I'm not a famous person in Xinjiang, with my big brother's fame, there are not many people in Xinjiang who dare to say that they don't know me. Why are you pretending in front of me? Yi Wenxing. Watch your mouth. Chin Wan-er was angry. I'm warning you, make way for me immediately, otherwise. Otherwise what can you do? Yi Wenxing directly interrupted Chin Wan-er. Chin, first figure out your identity. You're not a police officer now, and you're not a deputy bureau chief. Why did you come to our place to spy on us? I don't understand why. You're too dedicated. Chin Wan-er knew that there was no way to communicate with such an unreasonable person. Get out of the car. Do you really think you can walk out? Yi Wenxing said disapprovingly. The road was so wide, and they were blocked by their cars. Chin Wan-er couldn't escape now. How could Chin Wan-er, who was so stubborn, admit defeat so easily? She suddenly changed gears and stepped on the accelerator. The nickname of Golf GTR was not for nothing. The engine roared, and Chin Wan-er actually tried to push the huge Explorer in front of her away. The result was obvious. Although the small steel cannon was powerful, it still couldn't break through the huge Explorer. Chin Wan-er's car lost its front bumper because of the collision, and one of Yi Wenxing's car's headlights was also broken. All men loved cars. No one could deny this. Yi Wenxing had a pained look on his face. All right, you're quite stubborn. Chin Ju, since you're so uncooperative, then don't blame my people for being impolite. Get her out of the car and take her away. Before Chin Wan-er was ready to resist, a figure suddenly appeared and broke the glass of the car door with a punch. He reached in and unlocked the door. He directly opened the door and dragged Qin Wan-er out. The whole process was not sloppy at all. Qin Wan-er had no chance to resist at all. After being dragged out of the car, Qin Wan-er had no chance to resist. Her hands were tied quickly, and her eyes were covered with a piece of black cloth. Qin Wan, no matter what, my big brother also appreciated you before and wanted to make friends with you. So I'll give my big brother face. I won't block your mouth for you. If such a sexy mouth is blocked, it will be quite ugly. Yi Wenqing said, but you also have to give me face and be quiet. Otherwise, I won't be polite anymore. Qin Wan-er's body was trembling. She was angry, nervous, and scared. If you don't speak, I'll take it as a yes. Yi Wenqing said, if you dare to yell and scream, I'll immediately get my brothers to serve you well. He, Chief Qin, they're all hungry wolves who haven't touched a woman in a long time. If you don't want to be crippled, then remember what I just said. Qin Wan-er was really scared. She was really scared in the face of these guys who did all kinds of evil. It seems that Qin Wan is a very cooperative person. Yi Wenqing was very satisfied after seeing Qin Wan-er's reaction. Then let's go. Qin Wan-er, I believe my big brother will be very surprised to see you. Qin Wan-er was annoyed and blamed herself. She didn't listen to what Yi Wenqing said at all. She was really regretful. Why didn't she listen to Su Yun earlier? If she left earlier, she wouldn't have caused trouble for him. Why did she drag him down every time? She really wanted to help Su Yun. She really wanted to give Su Yun enough support. But why did she cause trouble for Su Yun again? Regret and annoyance really made Qin Wan-er want to bang her head against the wall and die. Chapter 1998. After Qin Wan-er was taken to Yi Wenqing's car, the car started. Yi Wenqing ordered his men under the car, you drive her car to the warehouse first, then go to the intersection. We will meet you there. Yes, third boss. After everything was arranged, Yi Wenqing got in the car and sat next to Qin Wan-er. Although Yi Wenqing had enough lust and courage, Qin Wan-er was such a beauty sitting in front of him, so he didn't dare to touch her. Their big brother had told them many times that he was very optimistic about Qin Wan-er. He believed that most of the real power of the Shenzhong police would be in the hands of this woman. Therefore, they had to reach a consensus with this woman as much as possible and become good friends. For such a long time, Qin Wan-er didn't eat anything like rice, oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, or tea. Yi Wenguang and Yi Wenqing had already lost their patience, but Yi Wenyang was still very patient. He said that they absolutely couldn't offend this woman and had to endure everything. Therefore, under such a long-term indoctrination, even if Yi Wenqing caught Qin Wan-er, he wouldn't dare to do anything to her. Bureau Chief Qin, my big brother has always admired you and has always praised you. Yi Wenqing said casually, we have invited you many times and arranged for people to send you all kinds of things. You are really determined. Do you know, once we gave you a jade Maitreya Buddha ornament that was worth more than 4 million yuan? Even in Shenzhong, there are many places where you can buy a house. I am not ashamed to be with people like you. Qin Wan-er's answer was still firm. Yi Wenqing clapped his hands. Yes, you are not ashamed to be with people like us, but many of your colleagues like to be with us. Bureau Chief Qin, one person can't change anything. A wise man submits to circumstances. In the entire Shenzhong police, there are 2 big weirdos. One is you, and the other is Xiao Zheng of the special police team. After a pause, Yi Wenqing continued, do you think good people have good karma? Qin Wan-er clenched her fist. She really wanted to punch this guy in the face. No good karma. Look at you, you were caught by me, right? Look at that Xiao Zheng, he was actually captured by his own people, he is even more wronged. Yi Wenqing laughed. This is the principle of, good people don't live long, scourges live for 1,000 years. Bah! This was the only response Qin Wan-er could give Yi Wenqing. Yi Wenqing didn't care. Chief Qin, what exactly do you know? When the hell did you find our storage unit? Can you be honest with me? Tell me about it. I'm also quite nervous about it. If you tell me, I might be able to relax a little. Why should I cooperate with you? Qin Wan said disdainfully. Because you're in my hands. I can do whatever I want to you. Yi Wenqing said, I'm still holding back now because I'm giving my brother some face. If Chief Qin doesn't cooperate at all, I won't care so much. I also admire Chief Qin's beauty very much. Qin Wan gritted her teeth and said, Rogue. You're right. Didn't the police always want to find evidence of our Jutsai group's crimes? Yi Wenqing said, I'm a rogue, and a big rogue. Chief Qin, don't you not believe me? I've played with hundreds if not thousands of women. I really don't know what it means to have tender feelings for the fairer sex. Qin Wan was already trembling. She really had no way to deal with this kind of rogue. She couldn't indulge him, nor could she confront him. She had no way to deal with him at all. You're looking for Wen Xiao? Yi Wenqing sneered. Chief Qin, I won't hide it from you. I can tell you this matter clearly. If you want to know any of our secrets, I can tell you. But after knowing our secrets, there are only two paths for people to choose. Qin Wan shook her head. I don't know any of your secrets, and I don't want to know. Don't. If you don't want to know, I'll tell you. Yi Wenqing said, Wen Xiao is in our hands. He didn't escape at all. The evidence that Wen Xiao escaped from Shenzhen was all fake. It was all fake arranged by my brother. Wen Xiao has always been in Shenzhen. He's in our hands. Qin Wan looked at Yi Wenqing with a face of disgust. Although she already knew these things, Yi Wenqing was forcing her to tell. Obviously, he had a sinister intention. Chief Qin, now you know everything. You and we are grasshoppers on the same line. Yi Wenqing said, only if you cooperate with us can we be friends and play together. If you don't cooperate with us, I believe you know the consequences. I can't cooperate with you. Don't even think about it. Dream on. Qin Wan rejected Yi Wenqing directly. Yi Wenqing nodded. Of course you will reject me. But you know so many of our secrets. If my brother knows about this, what will he do? Will he indulge you? Maybe he will choose to reward you to me. He, Chief Qin, you're so good. I won't take you for myself. I will share you with my brothers. Bah! Qin Wan really had never seen such a shameless guy. This kind of person really should be shot early. Yi Wenqing didn't care about Qin Wan's reaction at all. He just used a psychological torture method to break down people's psychological defense. This was Yi Wenyang's strength. There were so many people who helped Yi Wenqing, but not all of them were bought over by Yi Wenqing. There were also many people whose psychological defense was broken by Yi Wenqing, so they had to do things for him. Chief Qin, are you very curious why we know all the police's actions like the back of our hand? Yi Wenqing continued to break down Qin Wan's psychological defense. I can show you a list. It's saved in my mobile phone. These people are all our people. How can we be found by the police? As he said this, Yi Wenqing really took out his mobile phone and quickly found a phone list in the memo. When Yi Wenqing put the mobile phone in front of Qin Wan, she was really shocked, because the first name on the list was Zhang Guoping. She thought that he was the most diligent old scalper in the police station, Chief Zhang. There were more names below that surprised Qin Wan. They were from the Criminal Investigation Department, the Technical Investigation Department, the Human Resources Department. Almost all the departments in the police station had people on the list. The names on the list were all low-key guys. Normally, they wouldn't attract attention at all. Qin Wan was shocked, completely shocked. Her heart couldn't calm down for a long time. She knew that all this was very likely to be the reality. How about it, Chief Qin? Do you still think it's necessary for you to fight with us? Yi Wenqing said, I can say clearly that the people who have seen this list are either dead or added to this list. It's that simple. Qin Wan's brain was buzzing. She didn't hear what Yi Wenqing said next. Do you still remember Wei Kuan from the Criminal Investigation Department, who said last year that he committed suicide because of work pressure? He didn't commit suicide because he saw our list, but he didn't want to join it. So we helped him commit suicide. It's a pity that his 28-year-old wife became our brother's plaything. It's a pity that his 1-year-old child didn't have a father when he was young. Chapter 1999. That's enough. You devils, you bastards, you scumbags. Qin Weiner was really angry. Wei Kuan was a conscientious person. As a policeman, he devoted almost all his time to the great public security career. In order to support his work, his wife resigned to be a full-time wife at home. Last year, Wei Kuan's suicide shocked all of them. No one expected that Wei Kuan would be unable to bear the pressure. At that time, Qin Weiner thought it was impossible. Wei Kuan's ability to resist pressure was very high in the bureau. How could he commit suicide because of pressure? But all the evidence showed that he committed suicide, and there was no possibility of murder. Hey, it's not easy for Wei Kuan. We only need to control his wife and son. It's just a matter of words to make him jump off a building. Yi Wenqing smiled inhumanely. But don't worry, we also admire Officer Wei's cooperation very much. In order to show our care for him, I found a job for his wife as a technician at the #1 Heavenly Palace Sauna Center. Fortunately, Mrs. Wei is very good-looking. Now, many customers also like the young woman type. She can have 3 to 5 customers visiting her every day, and there are often customers who book her for the night. Are you done? Qin Weiner's eyes were full of anger. If she had a gun now, she would really kill this bastard on the spot. Yi Wenqing shrugged his shoulders. Director Qin, I'm much more noble than you. What did you do after Wei Kuan died? Just a donation of 35,000 yuan. Can you support his wife and son for a lifetime? Only Qin Weiner knew how painful it was at the moment. That kind of pain was really unbearable for her. The psychological and spiritual torture was more unbearable for Qin Weiner than any other torture. She didn't dare to think about the life Wei Kuan's wife and child were enduring now. The job I found for her is definitely a high-paying one in Shenzhen. It's enough for her to support her child, and it's enough for Wei Kuan's parents. Yi Wenqing knew that Qin Weiner's psychological defense was about to collapse. And I also take good care of her. If she doesn't have guests one day, I will pay and take my brothers to visit her. I won't let her have no income. Scum. You don't deserve to be a human. Qin Weiner's heart felt like it was being tightly clenched in a fist. That kind of suffocating feeling was completely abnormal. I will definitely catch you with my own hands. Definitely. Qin Ju, you are really confident. Yi Wenqing snorted. You want to catch me? Why don't you take a look at who is the one who has captured who? Qin Weiner gritted her teeth and said, God is watching what people do. You are so inhumane. God will not let you go. Heavens? The heavens are nothing. Yi Wenqing opened his mouth and cursed. He pointed at the skylight above his head and said, God, if you have the ability, strike me with lightning right now. As soon as Yi Wenqing's voice fell, a flash of lightning lit up the sky, followed by the roar of thunder. Wasn't this a little too timely? Yi Wenqing was a little stunned. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva and cursed in his heart. Could it be that he really wanted to kill me? After the thunderclap, bean-sized raindrops began to pour down. Qin Weiner had been in Shenzhen for so long, but this was the first time she encountered such heavy rain. She really didn't know if God wanted to strike Yi Wenqing to death because he didn't aim properly, or if God wanted to deliberately cause trouble for Su Yun. A few more flashes of lightning lit up the night sky of Shenzhen. Yi Wenqing's face revealed a smile. Qin Ju, did you see that? Even if I lent 3 guts to God, he still wouldn't dare to strike me to death. Ha 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 ha. Yi Wenqing, good will be rewarded with good, evil will be punished with evil. It's not that there won't be any punishment, it's just that the time hasn't come yet. Qin Wan Er's psychological defense had basically collapsed. Even God didn't strike this bastard to death on the spot. She was really, really disappointed. Yi Wenqing proudly shrugged his shoulders. The time hasn't come yet? Then, when I send you to Heavenly Palace number 1 as a technician, will the time come? Shameless. Qin Wan was really strong. If it were other girls, they probably wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. Yi Wenqing's seemingly normal conversation was actually a very cruel psychological torture method. This was something Yi Wanyang learned from a psychological master overseas. After he came back, he taught it to the two brothers. This psychological torture method could make the person's inner world suffer unbearable pain. This kind of pain was far beyond physical pain. It could be said that Qin Wan Er's heart was bleeding. Yi Wenqing gave her a thumbs up. Qin Ju is indeed Qin Ju. You're also worthy of being the person that my big brother admires. Even now, you haven't collapsed. I admire you. I really admire you. However, I still don't believe that you can withstand my big brother's test. I don't know what to do with you. You can relax. Qin Wan Er's heavy heart couldn't be relaxed just because he said so. Her heart was already burning with anger bit by bit. Su Yun was caught off guard by the torrential rain that followed the thunder. Seeing that they were about to reach the port, the rainstorm made Su Yun drenched like a drowned rat. Su Yun looked up and stared. God of thunder and God of rain, Mothaf *****. Why don't you take a look at the situation and come out to cause trouble? Can't you wait until I deal with the group of bastards from Jutsai Group before it rains? Fortunately, they quickly entered the port. Su Yun also found a place to shelter from the rain. However, the rainstorm made the dark night even more unscrupulous and blinded Su Yun's eyes. In the case of a long distance, Su Yun could barely see how many people got out of the cars. The difficulty of the task was quite high. Su Yun's mood was as cold as the icy rain slapping his face. He would rather be drenched in the rain for an entire year than to see today's torrential rain spoil their mission. Vaguely, Su Yun saw several bodyguards holding umbrellas. The ones who came out later were probably Yi Wanyang and Yi Wenguang. Of course, there was another person who should be Wen Xiao. Although Wen Xiao didn't mix in for a long time, his status was different. He was definitely at the boss level. To use an appropriate analogy, Wen Xiao was equivalent to a technology investor. He didn't need to pay a single cent. What he used was his technology, his ability, and his ability. Phew, there didn't seem to be anything special. Su Yun frowned. He really couldn't see with his own eyes. Who knew when the group of bastards from Dragon's Fury would come to support him? The other party had already gotten out of the cars. It seemed that a person in charge of the port came up to them and said something. A group of people stood in the rainstorm and talked in detail. Su Yun took advantage of this opportunity and finally recognized Wen Xiao's figure in the rainstorm. Wen Xiao was carrying a square wooden box in his hand. Su Yun was slightly startled. His intuition told him that the thing in the wooden box was definitely the Buddha's head. Phew! Su Yun took a deep breath again. Today was going to be interesting. He had to catch them all in one fell swoop. Su Yun identified the other party's identity bit by bit. Wan Xiao, Yi Wanyang, Yi Wenguang. Wait a minute. Why were there only 3 people under the umbrella? As the third boss, Yi Wenqing couldn't be a bodyguard holding an umbrella for others, right? Su Yun suddenly frowned. Not good. Not good. Chapter 2000. The pouring rain also caught Yi Wanyang and the others off guard. The weather forecast clearly said that it would be a very sunny day, but it suddenly turned into a storm. This kind of weather was obviously not suitable for going out to sea. The port had regulations. Under such heavy rain, no ship could leave the port. As a sailor, they knew very well that going out to sea in this kind of situation was very troublesome. Although it couldn't be said that the weather at sea was the same, the weather at sea was often worse than on land, not better. Therefore, no one would choose to go out to sea in this kind of situation. Yi Wanyang wanted to communicate this problem. He needed to set off on time because this was the safest time. Even if there was a storm, he still wanted to get the ship out. After knowing Yi Wanyong's thoughts, Wan Shao was the first to stand up. Big boss, even if you don't care about my life, you should consider the goods, right? If such a valuable thing sank into the sea, it would be really difficult to get it. Wan Shao, you have to believe me. This kind of weather is only temporary. Yi Wanyong said, I believe that after the ship leaves, the weather will soon pass. We must do things quickly. We can't delay. Wan Shao nodded. Well, even if I'm willing to bet my life for you, what can we do if the staff doesn't let us go? I will find a way to communicate. Yi Wanyong said, if the person in charge doesn't let us go, then contact his superior. If his superior still doesn't let us go, then continue to contact his superior. There will always be someone who will give me face. Wan Shao was already a little anxious in his heart. What time was it now? Other than the weather, everything else felt so calm and tranquil. How was the police preparing? He had already sent out all the information that should be sent out, but he still couldn't get a response from his superior. Although Wan Shao always wore high-tech invisible earphones, the earphones never rang. It couldn't be helped. After Wan Shao sneaked into the Jutsai group, he always had Yi Wanguang by his side, and Yi Wanguang always had an interference detector on him. Big boss, besides me, what else is on this ship? Wan Shao asked. Mahogany furniture. Yi Wanyong said, they are all legitimate imports and exports. I'm afraid it's more than that. Wan Shao didn't quite believe it. So much mahogany furniture was just to cover for him? Yi Wanyong smiled. There are some other things, but those are all small things that aren't worth mentioning. Wan Shao, you just need to take good care of the things in your hands. Black Crow is still waiting for you. We have to leave the ship as soon as possible. Seeing that Yi Wanyong's people were about to successfully communicate with the people at the port, Su Yun still hadn't received any support from the Dragon Fury team. This really gave him a headache. If it was a police operation, he would definitely know. Even if it was just a trace of abnormality, someone would inform him. Could it be that these National Special Operations Team people had no contact with the Shenzhong police? But how did these people follow him? How did they know that he was going to make a move tonight? All his actions were last-minute decisions. Only he and the people around him knew. These people had followed him through life and death. It was impossible for anyone to betray him, because if they betrayed him, they would also be arrested. Everyone had committed a great crime. No one would be forgiven. Wait a minute. There was one person. There was only one person who had not gone through life and death with him. That's right, it was Wan Shao. Wan Shao was the only person who did not have a life and death relationship with Yi Wanyong. He was also the only outsider who knew them. But Wan Shao was a fugitive. An S-level fugitive. It was even more impossible for him to harm himself. Yi Wanyong was on the verge of breaking down. He could not think of any loopholes. He did not know when he had been targeted. If this information was known by outsiders, there was only one possibility. He was a spy. But none of these people could be spies. That was impossible. Yi Wanyong's confidence had never been challenged so greatly. Why? Who was it? Who betrayed me? Yi Wanyong looked at everyone around him. Everyone's face made him feel suspicious. It was as if all of them could have betrayed him. Chapter 2001. Big Boss, you betrayed me, didn't you? Wan Shao was still acting. The story was still going on. Before the conclusion was reached, he couldn't reveal his identity. So many policemen. No, they don't seem to be policemen, right? They are directly from the special forces. They really think highly of me. Yi Wanyong's thoughts were in a mess. He didn't even suspect Wan Shao. I can't betray you. Just this Buddha's head. All of us have to die. How can I betray you? Big brother, what should we do? What should we do now? We are surrounded. Yi Wenguang panicked. What about old San? Where is old San? Yi Wenyang's mind was blank. Old San betrayed them? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Third brother could betray anyone, but he would never betray him. It's not old San. It's definitely not old San. Yi Wenyang's inner world was completely hysterical. They thought everything would go smoothly without any defense. They didn't expect this to happen and naturally didn't prepare any countermeasures. Although there were experts and bodyguards by their side, fighting barehanded against the well-equipped special forces? What a joke. These people were all top-notch shooting experts. They would probably be killed before they could even make a move. Before Yi Wenyang gave the order, no one dared to make any moves. Everyone knew the consequences of acting rashly. We will cooperate. Don't shoot. Yi Wenyang took a deep breath. We know that you are here to capture Wen Xiao. Wen Xiao is here. It has nothing to do with us. We can cooperate with all your orders. Please ensure our safety. This old fox was indeed an old fox. After his mind was in a mess, he still thought of a way to protect himself. Wen Xiao was really speechless. A bad guy was a bad guy. He had no credibility at all. To protect himself, he could betray others at any time. This guy was selfish to the extreme. Big boss, you are really something. Wen Xiao said, although we didn't have a close relationship these past few days, you can't go back on your words like this, right? When you met with trouble, you directly handed me over. Hee. Do you think that by handing me over, you can have a chance to escape? Yi Wenyang was really willing to do anything to save his life. You must capture Wen Xiao. He forced us to send him away. He also had a national treasure in his hands, which was a Buddha head. Our Jutsai group is a legitimate import and export business. The goods on our ship are all mahogany furniture. If you don't believe me, you can check. At this time, Yi Wenyang had already drawn a clear line between himself and Wen Xiao. After all, the wooden box with the Buddha head was in Wen Xiao's hands all along the way. Wen Xiao sneered. How ruthless. Yi Wenguang immediately followed his elder brother's footsteps and pointed his spear at Wen Xiao. Yes, you must capture Wen Xiao. He was a national S-class wanted criminal. Not only did he steal the country's secrets, but he also stole the country's most valuable treasure. This person was too despicable. Fortunately, you appeared in time. Otherwise, we would have been forced to follow his request and send him out of Shenjiang port. Wen Xiao was completely speechless. This group of fellas were really not ordinary people. They were too capable and too awesome. You guys are really something. What else do you want to slander? Go on, come on, I'll take it all. Wen Xiao said, while reminding Su Yun and the others, where's your Lao San? Where's Yi Wenqing? Let him come out and continue to frame me. Oh, he should be on the way, right? Everyone, you guys have to be careful. They still have one person who hasn't arrived. Stop slandering people. Yi Wenyang's acting skills were really good. When he spoke, he unconsciously began to walk towards Su Yun and the others, trying to turn his identity into the victim at the scene. You treated us as your puppets. If we weren't afraid of your methods, we would have resisted long ago. Su Yun couldn't help but want to applaud. He always thought that the Oscar should be awarded to him. Today, it seemed that there were really too many people whose acting skills were better than his. Yi Wenyang was definitely at the level of an Oscar. Wen Xiao was also not willing to fall behind. At this point, he still hadn't exposed his identity as a spy. He would definitely be a good spy in the future. Stop right there. Where are you going? Su Yun impatiently pointed at Yi Wenyang, indicating that he shouldn't really think of himself as a victim. We know very well what kind of people your Jutsai group is. Wen Xiao is indeed a national S-level wanted criminal, but your Jutsai group is the focus of the national blacklist. Wen Xiao pushed the wooden box into Yi Wenguang's arms behind him. This thing is the national cultural relic that Jutsai group wants to sell. Golden Buddha head. The weight of 150 kilograms was nothing to Wen Xiao, but Yi Wen Guang, the second boss who didn't have the strength to tie up a chicken, couldn't bear it on the spot. He couldn't take it and directly threw it to the ground. National Cultural Relic. If it's destroyed in your hands, I'll shoot you right now. Su Yun glared fiercely at Yi Wen Guang. Yi Wen Guang used all his strength and knelt on the ground with a thud. He almost broke his bones, but he didn't let the wooden box fall directly to the ground. When he slowly placed the wooden box on the ground and ensured that the Buddha head inside was safe and sound, he couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. National Cultural Relic, Golden Buddha Head, not bad. Su Yun, Yi Wen Yang, right? The CEO of Jutsai Group, right? Now that you've been caught red-handed, what else do you have to say? This Buddha head really belongs to Wen Xiao. It has nothing to do with us. Our goods are all mahogany furniture. They are all expensive Chinese furniture. Yi Wen Yang still wanted to quibble. At this time, Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu, who were in charge of inspecting the ship, also came out. In addition to the people who came out with them, Hua Xiaolu also had a vase in his hand. Not bad. Didn't you say you were selling furniture? What is this? A vase. I just casually opened the packaging of the furniture and there was a vase inside. Hua Xiaolu walked over with a smile. It seems that there are quite a lot of good things in this ship. These are all gifts of mahogany furniture. Foreigners like Chinese furniture and decorations, so these vases are all gifts along with the furniture. Yi Wen Yang still tried to cover up their crime of smuggling cultural relics. Aya, a Ming Hongwu period porcelain vase with red glaze with lotus flower patterns. You actually said it was a gift? This vase has a beautiful shape, and the patterns are smooth. Although it's not the best, it's definitely the best of the best. Hua Xiaolu said, with my understanding of the red glaze, this vase is worth at least a few million. But that set of floral furniture is very ordinary. It's not bad if it can be sold for 300,000. Who is whose gift? Hua Xiaolu casually found the red glaze from the Ming Hongwu period. How many Hua Xia treasures were there on this ship? This Yi Wen Yang was really not enough even if he was beheaded 100 times. Yi Wen Yang, do you have anything else to explain? Do I have to find an expert to appraise it for you and give you an appraisal certificate before you admit to it? Su Yun scolded. Do you know what kind of crime it is to smuggle cultural relics? Wen Xiao agreed. The crime of smuggling cultural relics is a small matter for them. They also committed murder and arson, and smuggled human organs. Their crimes are serious, not just in one aspect. It's definitely enough for the death penalty. Wen Xiao, you tricked me. Yi Wen Yang glared. King tricked me first. Wen Xiao spat. Let's talk about it in court. Jutsai Group was caught red-handed today. Don't find excuses. Su Yun said, Yi Wen Yang, no matter how cunning a fox is, it can't beat a good hunter. The good hunter that Su Yun mentioned was naturally Wen Xiao, because Yi Wen Yang still didn't suspect that Wen Xiao was a spy. Chapter 2002. Han Zhan, Qian Feng, you two immediately bring people to the port to ambush. Once you find Yi Wenqing, immediately arrest him. Su Yun was still very worried that the guy would run away. These three main culprits definitely couldn't be let go of. However, just as Su Yun's voice fell, two cars appeared in everyone's sight. Yi Wen Yang immediately recognized that it was Lao San's car. Su Yun was also quite surprised. This guy actually delivered himself to the door? Under the heavy rain, Han Zhan and Qian Feng quickly brought people to surround the two cars. As long as they came, they wouldn't be able to leave. Today, they were going to catch a turtle in a jar. Everyone was completely drenched by the heavy rain, but the excitement of breaking the Jutsai Group's smuggling of cultural relics made everyone feel very dry. Perhaps only Yi Wen Yang's mood was as wet and helpless as their bodies. Lao San, the last person who could think of a way to save them, actually delivered himself to the door. His brain was really kicked by a donkey. Yi Wenqing really didn't think of delivering himself to the door. Because of the sudden heavy rain, he couldn't see what was happening at the scene from afar. When he saw everything clearly, it was too late. He couldn't run away even if he wanted to. There were so many guns aimed at their car. This thing wasn't bulletproof. A bullet would explode if it hit the mailbox. Yi Wenqing wasn't going to risk his life. Moreover, he had a trump card. Shenzhen Police's Deputy Bureau Chief Qin was still in his hands. He had the qualifications to stand up and talk, right? The people in the car, listen up. I'll give you 1 minute. Get out of the car immediately. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Han Zhan shouted angrily. Yi Wenqing wasn't in a hurry. His car was equipped with a loudspeaker. It was an illegal modification. It was like a police car carrying a loudspeaker. The decibel was quite high. The people outside, listen up. Shenzhen Police's Bureau Chief Qin Wan is in my hands. If you dare to mess around, I'll kill her first. As soon as Yi Wenqing said this, Su Yun rubbed his temples hard. What he was worried about had come true. When he noticed that Yi Wenqing didn't appear, he was worried that Qin Weiner, who went to get the car after he left, would be discovered by Yi Wenqing. Now, it seemed that everything had come true. Su Yun did not blame Qin Wan. This was not her fault. If someone had to bear the responsibility, then the responsibility would be his. It was because he had not thought about this matter that Qin Wan was in danger. Now, everything was very complicated. Su Yun could not do anything to the people in the car. They had to worry about Qin Wan-er's safety. This time, Qin Wan-er was in real danger. It was not like when Wen Xiao had pretended to be her hostage. At that time, Su Yun and the others' hearts were in their throats. Things had already reached this point, and he was still willing to help them one last time. Who cares? As long as they could escape, nothing else mattered. Wen Xiao, I thank you for helping us today. Yi Wenqing said. You are much stronger than us. What you can do, we can't do. Yi Wenqing gave Wen Xiao confidence and made Wen Xiao have the mood to confront these guys. It was definitely beneficial for them. Third brother. Bring Bureau Chief Qin out and give her to Wen Xiao. Yi Wenqing was ready to escape at any time. As long as Qin Wan was in Wen Xiao's hands, the other party would definitely not dare to act rashly. Su Yun really admired Wen Xiao's wit. It seemed that his undercover identity could really help a lot. The last time Wen Xiao kidnapped Qin Wan, it was for a mission. This time, it was purely to save people. Do you think that you have the final say in this place? Su Yun knew that he still had to act. Release the hostage. Yi Wenqing got out of the car. A sharp dagger appeared in his hand. He directly sealed Qin Wan-er's neck. If you dare to mess around, I will immediately bleed him. Under Su Yun's signal, everyone was so nervous that they didn't move. Wan Xiao and Yi Wenqing successfully exchanged hostages. When Qin Wan was in Wen Xiao's hands, Su Yun let out a sigh of relief. Yi Wenqing's reaction was definitely fast enough. He shouted, "Go!" and ran directly to the sea. He thought that this place could be completely handed over to Wan Xiao. He did not have to worry anymore. As long as he jumped into the sea and escaped, everything would be fine. Where there is life, there is hope. After receiving the order from their big brother, Yi Wenguang and Yi Wenqing also escaped. The bodyguards who came with them also moved. They all thought that the hostage was in Wen Xiao's hands. These people would not dare to shoot. They only needed a dozen seconds to escape and jump into the sea. Everything would be over. As long as Yi Wenqing could escape alive, they still had a chance to make a comeback. This was something that everyone present believed in their hearts. They absolutely trusted Yi Wenqing. Chapter 2003. However, what no one expected was that the moment they ran away, the people from the special forces pulled the trigger and aimed at their calves. Yi Wenqing and Yi Wenqing were in the group of bodyguards, so they weren't shot. Only the unlucky Yi Wanguang was shot by Han Zhan in his right calf and fell to the ground. Until he felt a sharp pain in his leg, he couldn't believe that the other party dared to shoot them when the hostages were under Wen Zhao's control. Yi Wanyang and Yi Wanqing's confidence was completely shattered. They originally thought that they were strong, but now their confidence collapsed. They didn't even have a chance to escape. At that moment, the two of them only had one thought in their minds. Run, run. Run as fast as you can and get out of this damn place. Wen Zhao's reaction was very fast. When Qin Wan was in his hands, he gave Su Yun a look. When Su Yun went to help Qin Wan, Wen Xiao turned around and chased after Yi Wanyang. Boom! Yi Wanyang was pushed to the ground by Wen Xiao. When Yi Wanyang turned around and saw Wen Xiao, he would never forget this one-eyed man. It was only at that moment that Yi Wanyang came to a sudden realization. So all of this was a lie. It turned out that all of this was just a prank. He had been in Wen Zhao's hands all along. Everything that happened today was because he believed in Wen Xiao and wanted to use Wen Xiao. And Wen Xiao actually helped the police catch him? If it wasn't a dream, then it was definitely a show. Yi Wanguang and the bodyguards were shot and fell to the ground. Yi Wanyang was pushed to the ground by Wen Xiao. The only one who escaped was Yi Wanqing. He knew that he couldn't turn the situation around by himself. The only thing he could do now was to protect himself. As long as he jumped into the sea, he could escape. As long as he jumped into the sea, there was hope for him to live. We can't let that bastard escape. Qin Wan hated Yi Wanqing to the core. If this bastard who had harmed so many people didn't get punished by the law, she felt that her inner world would collapse. However, at this distance, no one had the time to take action against Yi Wanqing. The people in front of them had already occupied all their attention. Yi Wanqing was only one step away from jumping into the sea. He wanted to raise his arms and shout at the last moment. However, under Qin Wan-er's angry roar, the shocking thunder once again lit up the entire night sky of Shenzhen. The dagger in Yi Wanqing's hand seemed to have become a lightning rod. Everyone clearly saw a beam of white light penetrate Yi Wanqing's body. At this moment, the scene was completely silent. Witnessing a living person being struck by lightning with their own eyes, this could be considered the ninth wonder of the world, right? There were probably not many people in the world who had witnessed this scene. Qin Wan was also stunned. She had never thought that the heavens had eyes, but today, she believed that the eyes of the heavens were as clear as snow. He knew very well who deserved to be struck to death. A charred Yi Wanqing fell to the ground, twitching from time to time. If one were to look carefully, they could see the electricity flowing through his body. This lightning strike was really beautiful. There was no need to call an ambulance at all. Looking at the charred skin, it was obvious that he was completely dead. If the heavens gave a little more power, perhaps they would have directly turned him into a human. They would not even need to send him to the crematorium to be cremated. How good would that be? Yi Wanyang, I think I saved your life. Wen Xiao said seriously to Yi Wanyang, who was under his body, how many heartless things have you done? Even the heavens want to strike you to death. He definitely wanted to strike you to death just now, but I held you down. He saw that he couldn't strike a good person like me, so he could only strike your third brother to death. The muscles on Yi Wanyang's face trembled. Wen Xiao, you are ruthless. You are actually a spy? You finally understood. Wen Xiao smiled disdainfully. Didn't you arrange a lot of moles in the police? How come there was no one who tipped you off? Impossible. It's impossible that they didn't tell me. Yi Wanyang's emotions were already out of control. If he wasn't under Wen Zhao's control, he would have already flown into a rage. Wen Xiao nodded. Of course, it's impossible that they didn't tell you, because they didn't know at all. In the whole of Shenzhen, only Bureau Chief Qin knows my identity. Yi Wanyang was so thoroughly defeated that not even dregs were left. Everything was a huge conspiracy. He, a schemer, actually fell into someone else's big conspiracy. Yi Wanyang, you don't have to feel wronged. Hua Leitang sneered. The tomb robbers who stole the gold Buddha head were all taken down by our people yesterday. They definitely couldn't resist and would have attacked you. It's not wrong for you to be caught now. Wanyang didn't believe it. Impossible. You must be lying to me. My people definitely wouldn't be caught by you so easily. Do you think it took us a lot of effort to catch you today? Su Yun, I really didn't think it took us a lot of effort. It was just that it took us a lot of effort to keep an eye on you and make you reveal yourself. The moment you believed Wen Xiao, you were completely exposed. Wanyang's anger was transferred to Wen Xiao. Despicable person, if it wasn't for despicable people, I wouldn't be here today. Wen Xiao, let me tell you, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go. I'm looking forward to becoming a ghost. Wen Xiao sneered. Maybe you don't know, but I, Wen Xiao, had a side job in Southeast Asia, which was to help people catch ghosts. If you dare to come back as a ghost, I'll take you in, put you in a Een token, find a septic tank, and throw you in. You'll be doomed eternally. Without waiting for Wanyang to speak, Wen Xiao picked him up. Don't King talk nonsense. Don't waste your saliva, save it to confess. At this time, Wen Guang was also picked up from the ground by Han Zhan. He stared at Wen Xiao bitterly. You really disappoint me. I trusted you so much, I treated you as a brother, but you actually tricked me? You treated me as a brother? Hee. Wen Guang, don't think that you're more noble than your brother. You just treated me as a tool that can bring you great help. Otherwise, you wouldn't have trusted me so much. Wen Xiao said, you have to be careful when you look at people in the future. Oh right, I'm afraid you won't have a future. Seeing that all the core criminals of the Jutsai group had been arrested, only Qin Wana knew how excited she was. She didn't know if she was crying tears of joy, but she couldn't help it. She directly lay in Su Yun's arms and cried. The people have been taken care of for us. You should be laughing now. Laugh at them. Su Yun, in the future, Shen Jiang will completely eradicate the Jutsai group. Let's see who dares to make trouble in front of you, Bureau Chief Qin. Your contribution this time is too great. You've brought Wanqing, a fish that escaped the net, here. Qin Wan wasn't excited about any contribution at all. She would cry tears of joy because she believed that her brothers and sisters, who had sacrificed their lives or even more for the cause of public security, would be very, very happy to see the criminals today. Their souls would definitely be comforted and sublimated. Let these damn criminals disappear from their sight forever. 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 Let them go to hell. Just like Wanqing, they would be completely sent to the 18th level of hell. Chapter 2004. When everything calmed down, the heavens seemed to have calmed down as well. The storm came without warning and disappeared without warning. The crime committed by the Jutsai group could not be changed. Qin Wan immediately notified the city leader in charge of public security. The city leader was quite shocked when he heard the news. Because the Jutsai group had a very large list of police officers who were involved in covering up their crime, this matter could not be blown out of proportion. They needed to eliminate the people overnight and then immediately carry out an operation, a large-scale raid. They had to take care of the moles and the police tonight before they knew that the Jutsai group had fallen. Otherwise, they would definitely run away. This matter involved too many people. Even the city leader was shocked. In the end, Qin Wan decided to arrange the temporary trial to be held in the warehouse where Wanyang hid Wen Xiao. Su Yun asked Hua Leiteng to personally pick up the city leader and bring him to the warehouse. Wanyang knew that he had completely fallen into the trap this time. He had nothing to hide. No matter what, it was a capital offense. Of course, he would not let go of the cops who had taken a lot of benefits from him. Since he was going to die, he would drag a few more down with him. That way, he would not be lonely. In this temporary trial, Wanyang confessed to his crime. He provided a list of all the police officers who had helped him. Excluding those who had been taken away for investigation because of their work style, there were still 17 people who were in different positions in the Shenzhen police force. The 17 people led by Zhang Guoping were all low-key people. At first, the city leader did not dare to believe it, but after Yi Wanyang explained everything clearly, he realized how practical it was to know a person for a long time without knowing his true nature. This was a big case. They had to be uprooted. The city leader temporarily appointed Qin Wan as the special commander of this operation. She mobilized all the people in the police force that she could trust overnight. The special police force also cooperated with her. Almost at the same time, all 17 people were arrested. When Zhang Guoping was arrested, he thought it was a dream. He never thought that Qin Wan would personally bring people to arrest him. He also never thought that all the things he had done would be found out. He could only sigh that there was no such thing as an airtight wall in the world. One should never think that the things one had done would not be spread out. If you don't want people to know, don't do it in the first place. Although Zhang Guoping also regretted what he had done, he knew very well that he would never be able to climb out again from the day he fell into it. Chief Zhang, I really didn't expect you to have such a close relationship with Yi Wanyang of the Jutsai group. Qin Wan's heart was filled with anger. Wei Kuan of the Criminal Investigation Department, before he sacrificed himself, he had always regarded you as his role model. He had always regarded you as his big brother. He had always praised you in everything he did. Little Qin, don't say any more. What has already happened cannot be changed, Zhang Guoping said. Qin Wan looked determined. It's you who doesn't dare to listen. He was forced to jump off a building because he knew about your list and refused to join the Jutsai group. His wife was also forced to go to the Heavenly Palace No. 1 sauna center to do that kind of thing. I don't believe that you don't know about all this. You know all of this. Why are you still working for these demons? I don't understand. How could Zhang Guoping not feel heartache? However, he was already under the control of the people from Jukai group. They had something on him. He did not dare to resist. He had to take advantage of others. Zhang Guoping had always been so low-key because he was afraid that something would happen. He had always hoped that he would be able to retire peacefully and not be promoted. Just retire. When he had no power at all, the people from Jukai group would no longer look for him. When that time came, he could go far away. His pension was enough for him to live in any city. Zhang Guoping was also suffering from psychological torture, but he didn't dare to overturn this mess. He didn't dare to sink this ship, because he was also on this ship. As long as one was on this ship, their mentality was actually the same as Zhang Guoping's. They were all afraid and worried. They did not dare to sink this ship. It was not because they did not hate the actions of those bastards from Jukai group. Their misstep, their greed, had ruined their entire lives. Since they were police officers, they were definitely not vicious villains by nature. Because of their momentary confusion, they fell into the abyss of demons bit by bit. Just like Zhang Guoping, by the time they came to their senses, they had already become out-and-out demons. It was impossible for a person who had become a demon to become an angel again. Little Qin, people like me, should really be shot. Zhang Guoping took a deep breath. I have never dared to face myself. It is because I don't dare to. I am worried about my wife. My son is only in his 4th year of university. I don't know how he will face his life when he knows that his biological father is such a person. Qin Wan's anger seemed to be soothed little by little. Chief Zhang, you are really too confused. Little Qin, Huaxia needs a police officer like you. Zhang Guoping said, I will not be eroded by any temptation. I will not give any bad people a chance. It is Shenzhong's blessing to have you in the Shenzhong police station. Hee. I have disappointed you. I hope it will not affect your future work. Qin Wan shook her head with a bitter smile. Yes, Chief Zhang really disappointed her. I am really worried that you will not dare to trust your colleagues because of my behavior. Zhang Guoping said, don't let this matter become a knot in your heart. Qin Wan nodded. I will try my best to overcome it. After that, Qin Wan waved her hand. Take him away. She did not want to continue listening. Whether it was confusion or regret, as long as they embarked on the road of crime, they would never be forgiven. There was a good saying, "Don't stretch out your hand. If you stretch out your hand, you will be caught." Although this sentence was about thieves, it really applied to anyone. Don't reach out to take something that does not belong to you, and don't accept it. There was no such thing as a free lunch in the sky. If it were not because of greed, people like Zhang Guoping would not have fallen. They would still be good policemen with a sense of justice. This world was originally ever-changing. No one knew what would happen in the next second. If you don't want your life to become terrible and tasteless, don't try to go on the evil road. There was no turning back on the evil road. Once you set foot on it, you will definitely fall into the abyss. Qin Wan looked at her 17 colleagues who had been arrested. She was really heartbroken. That kind of heartbreak could not be described with words. Su Yun could understand Qin Wan-er's pain because he had also experienced the feeling of loss. This is the road they chose. They should change it well. After they are released, they can continue to contribute to the motherland. Su Yun's comfort did not have much effect on Qin Wan-er, but at least it made Qin Wan-er feel a little relaxed. Chapter 2005. The Jutsai group was suspected of selling human flesh, intentional murder, trafficking human organs, smuggling national cultural relics, destroying ancient tombs, and other crimes. The 7 core members, led by Yi Wanyang and Yi Wanguang, were all sentenced to death. There was no room for rebuttal. As for Yi Wanqing, he had already been blasted into smithereens by God. There was no need for him to be sentenced at all. He had participated in too many intentional killings and serious injuries. 80% of the human organs sold by the Jutsai group were sold by him. Therefore, he could not escape the death penalty. God had helped the government save bullets. Wan Zhao's identity as an undercover agent was also revealed. Qin Weiner, who had always known about it, was also given the top credit for this case. It was because of her silent cooperation that Wan Zhao successfully infiltrated the enemy's inner circle. It was because of her efforts that Jutsai Group's deep-rooted network in the police was uprooted. Qin Weiner's contribution was indispensable, although she always felt that she did nothing. But in fact, at many important moments, Qin Weiner played a vital role. It could be said that without Qin Weiner, there would not be today's success. Maybe they could have caught the people from the Jutsai Group, but it was difficult to guarantee that they would have found all the stains in the police station. To be able to uproot such a huge network of connections, Qin Wan deserved to be called the #1 merit. The city leader's praise for Qin Weiner had never stopped. Because of this incident, Qin Weiner became the youngest female bureau chief in Shenzhen City, in the entire Huaxia. This was definitely the recognition of Qin Weiner by the entire country. Qin Weiner had made a great contribution and was promoted to bureau chief. Even Zhang Yun, who had always been envious of Qin Weiner, had no objections. She really deserved the top credit. Zhang Yun was convinced this time. If it were him, he would not say anything to anyone, not to mention whether he could keep his mouth shut. Just based on this temptation alone, he didn't know if he could resist it. Qin Weiner, a girl could do this. How could Zhang Yun have the face to challenge her? Because of Zhang Guoping's example, Zhang Yun also realized that he should really reflect on whether he should be a good police officer, instead of doing nothing for the rest of his life. If he did that, what was the difference between him and Zhang Guoping? It was just that he didn't sell out the secret operation to the people of Jutsai Group like they did. There was a reason why Jutsai Group hadn't contacted Zhang Yun. Zhang Yun was a person who didn't care about anything. He didn't even know what was happening around him. Therefore, Yi Wanyang felt that Zhang Yun was a good-for-nothing and didn't want to bribe him. Zhang Yun could also feel this. He would not allow criminals to look down on him like this. He must work hard in the future. Qin Wan-er's positive energy had indeed changed a lot of people. That was the most gratifying thing for the city leaders. Of course, other than Wen Zhao's clean identity, Xiao Zhang had also returned to Shenzhen. His situation had also been reported. It was all to cooperate with this operation, so they had no choice but to damage Xiao Zheng's reputation. The city leaders also greatly praised Xiao Zheng's performance in this mission. After a discussion between the various departments, Xiao Zheng was directly promoted from the captain of the Special Forces team to the deputy bureau chief of the city bureau. This was skipping a grade. Although Xiao Zheng was reluctant to part with the Special Forces team, for the sake of Shenzhong's more stable social order, he still listened to the arrangements of the higher-ups. Everything had ended satisfactorily, but the real heroes behind the scenes had already left. The brothers of the Dragon Fury team left after arresting the people. They didn't participate in the commendation ceremony, nor did they accept any commendation. That kind of thing had no concept to them. They had long been used to the identity of the heroes behind the scenes. Su Yun obviously wouldn't participate in the police commendation ceremony. He was the same as the brothers of Dragon's Fury. They were concerned about Wen Zhao's situation. After this undercover mission, Wen Zhao had made a great contribution. Not only did he destroy the entire Jutsai group, he also brought back the Golden Buddha head intact and handed it over to the country. With this little contribution, he believed that the higher-ups would give Wen Zhao a chance to fight for the country and the people again. Letting him rejoin the Dragon's Fury Special Forces would make everything more meaningful. Wan Guangxiao didn't hold back and helped Wen Zhao fight for everything. Wen Zhao finally put on the Dragon Fury team's combat uniform again. When he put the Dragon Brigade's team logo on his left shoulder again, he really felt like he was reborn from the ashes. Yes, the one-eyed man from Southeast Asia was dead forever. He was still the same Wan Zhao from before. He was still the brave and good at fighting Wen Zhao from the Dragon Fury team. Although Su Yun didn't see the excitement when Wen Zhao put on the team logo in Yanjing, he could feel it. He believed that it would be the most exciting moment in Wen Zhao's life. It seemed that no one would have thought that Su Yun, who was an ordinary citizen of Huaxia, had played such a big role in this mission. It was like the passage in an essay that connected the past and the future, like the passage in a novel that connected the past and the future, like a scene in a movie that connected the whole story. In fact, among these people, it wouldn't be a problem to change anyone except for Su Yun. This was the most important bearing of the real mission. After everything was over, he chose to sleep. He didn't let anyone down. This was the best he could do. The police commendation ceremony lasted for the whole afternoon. Yi Fala had already called Qin Wan-er and said that she had prepared a celebration party for her. After Qin Wan-er ended the commendation ceremony, she immediately called Yi Fala and rejected it. She was determined not to violate the main message. She absolutely couldn't do these extravagant and wasteful things. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing and she wouldn't be worthy of being a party member. Yi Fala promised Qin Wan-er that she wouldn't be extravagant and wasteful. She would make it like a normal meal and let Qin Wan-er and her close colleagues come. But Qin Wan-er still rejected. Su Yun asked Yi Fala to give up. He understood Qin Wan-er. Qin Wan-er was the kind of person who would restrain her actions if she had more responsibility on her shoulders. She knew that she had to set an example to let the people below her obey her and let them be like her. That night, Su Yun said goodbye to Yi Fala and Qin Wan-er and returned to Qingdao. As for Qin Wan-er, she went to an ordinary fast food restaurant with a few colleagues she had a good relationship with. Qin Wan-er treated them to a meal and spent less than 200 yuan. Everything was frozen. The people in the prison who were waiting to be executed also had an extraordinary feeling. Yi Wanyang sat in the dark cell and asked himself over and over again, "Do I regret it? No. No. If there was a next life, he would do the same thing again. Because if he was a down-to-earth person, he would never get everything he wanted. Luxury cars, mansions. If he didn't do all of this, what did he have? There was nothing. No. He regretted it. Although he had a luxury car and a mansion, he didn't even have his life now. If he couldn't live, everything he had would be meaningless. Now that he had lost everything, he didn't feel any heartache at all. It was because everything he had wasn't exchanged with his hard work. Everything he had was obtained by breaking the law and taking advantage of opportunities. So, even if he lost it, he didn't feel any heartache. Chapter 2006. After settling this matter, Su Yun was in a good mood. Although returning the golden Buddha head to the country didn't seem like a big deal, it had great significance to historical relics. Everyone knew that there were too many relics of Hua Xia that had been lost. When Su Yun went to Taiwan Island for the first time and saw the items in the Taiwan Museum, he suddenly realized that the items in the Forbidden City were all leftovers. Later on, Su Yun had the opportunity to go to the British Museum. In the end, Su Yun realized that even the relics in the Taiwan Museum were leftovers. How many relics of Hua Xia were lost overseas? Those who knew a little would be shocked by the number. The British Museum should be the museum that collected the most relics of Hua Xia. There were 23,000 national treasures in the museum. They were all treasures. There were ancient stone tools, Shang and Zhou bronzes, Wei and Jin stone Buddhist scriptures, Tang and Song paintings, Ming and Qing dynasty ceramics, and even the Yongle cannon, a supranational treasure, was in the museum. There was one thing to point out. The China relics on display in the British Museum only accounted for 1/10 of the total collection. There was still a large number of relics in the secret room that ordinary people couldn't see. When would so many relics of Hua Xia be returned to Hua Xia? Su Yun didn't know if that day would come. However, he firmly believed that as long as Hua Xia was strong enough, there would be a day when they could take back everything that belonged to them. There were too many relics of Hua Xia that were far more valuable than the beast head overseas. Moreover, many foreigners didn't even know how to cherish these treasures. There were countless national treasures that had been damaged. For example, if the golden Buddha head was bought by the Japanese and kept as a private collection, perhaps no one in Hua Xia would be able to see this golden Buddha head again. As for how important the golden Buddha head was to the ancient culture of Hua Xia, perhaps no one would know. In addition to the golden Buddha head, they also found more than 20 valuable antiques, calligraphy, paintings, and other cultural relics in the Ju Kai Group's smuggling ship. This operation could be said to be quite successful. Qin Wan Er's promotion was also something worth celebrating. The scum of the Shenzhen police force had almost all been eradicated at this time. For the people of Shenzhen, this might be a good thing to celebrate. After Su Yun returned to Qingdao, Lin Gu had been sulking. He was angry not because Su Yun didn't take him to Shenzhen, but because Su Yun didn't even tell him. He made it seem as if he was very ignorant and didn't understand at all. Bai Xiaoye was also quite speechless. She had helped to coax such a big boy for a long time, but she still couldn't coax him. Su Yun wouldn't try to coax a man like Lin Gu. Moreover, he knew very well that Lin Gu didn't need to be coaxed at all. As long as he brought him along when something happened, he would definitely forget everything that had happened before. However, what was supposed to happen happened so quickly. Something that Su Yun did not expect at all happened. During the interrogation of Yi Wanyang unexpectedly proposed an idea to atone for his crime. He said that he knew that the crime he had committed could not be atoned for, and he knew that he would never be able to change the possibility of his death sentence. However, he wanted a chance to be redeemed before he went to hell. According to Yi Wanyang's confession, Black Crow was a transit point where a large number of cultural relics from Hua Xia were smuggled to Japan. In the current situation, even if he was caught, it was still impossible for him to control the flow of cultural relics from Hua Xia. Other than the Ju Kai Group, there were other criminals who would also use Black Crow as a transit point to sell their illegally obtained cultural relics to Japan. In fact, the mentality of these criminals was very simple. It was because of money. They could get a lot of benefits from selling cultural relics, but they could only get a pitiful bonus if they returned them to the country. Unless it was a second-generation rich person like Wang Zongxi who didn't lack money, they wouldn't care about the hundreds of millions that a golden Buddha head sold for. Anyone else would be tempted. Therefore, Yi Wenyang said that if he didn't get rid of Black Crow at the transit point and Black Crow's den in Japan, he wouldn't be able to stop the cultural relics from flowing to Japan. As long as there was a channel to resell, someone would think of a way to resell. Without this channel, the phenomenon of cultural relics being sold would be greatly reduced. Yi Wanyang's words were very reasonable. He said that he could help Hua Xia deal a destructive blow to Black Crow. Of course, he would still use the golden Buddha head. He could make it clear to Black Crow that the deal was cancelled due to the sudden police inspection. As long as he contacted Black Crow again and asked Wen Xiao to continue with the deal, everything would be settled. This was indeed a very tempting idea. According to a few research studies, it was decided that Wen Xiao would continue with the mission. Su Yun would still be the coordinating person for this mission. After all, Su Yun was quite familiar with Japan. To be more precise, the main person for this mission was Su Yun. Wen Xiao was the coordinating person because Wen Xiao was Black Crow's contact person. He couldn't be changed. If it weren't for this, the higher-ups wouldn't have wanted Wen Xiao to carry out this mission. After all, Wen Xiao had just completed an adventure. However, Wen Xiao was very excited that he could continue with this mission. He felt that if he couldn't get rid of Black Crow, this mission wouldn't be considered complete. Only by getting rid of Black Crow could his mission to return to the Dragon Brigade be considered complete. After Wen Xiao accepted the mission, the higher-ups immediately contacted Su Yun. Wan Guangxiao hoped that Su Yun would participate. He believed that Su Yun wouldn't fail. The reason was very simple. There were too many people who could help Su Yun. Wan Guangxiao just heard that Zhuo Langyue had gone to Japan. Every year at this time, Zhuo Langyue would go to Japan to stay for 2 weeks. Although Zhuo Langyue didn't like the Japanese and didn't like the Japanese government, she still liked the Japanese. This country was indeed very beautiful and clean. Especially at this time, she could enjoy all kinds of delicacies in Japan. She could enjoy the charm of Japan. If other people encountered trouble in Japan, Zhuo Langyue would definitely ignore them. She preferred to watch from the sidelines. However, if Su Yun needed help, she definitely wouldn't stand by and do nothing. Therefore, Su Yun had to do this personally. Su Yun's reply was very straightforward. Of course, I won't miss this opportunity to go on a trip at public expense. When will we set off? I'll be ready at any time. However, I need someone to help me. The higher-ups couldn't wait for Su Yun's small request. It was a good thing to have someone to help. Su Yun's side was settled. Everything was arranged according to Yi Wanyang's cooperation. They still had to take the delivery ship of Jutsai Group. Of course, there was only the furniture in the ship. All the antiques and paintings were kept away. Yi Wanyang contacted Black Crow and set a new time. Everything was ready. They only needed to wait for Su Yun and Wen Xiao to be in place. Then, this mission could be carried out. It was time to set off soon. Lin Guo was still angry with the child. Su Yun didn't need to coax him at all. He just knocked on Lin Ji's office door and said, "Pack your things and follow me immediately. This matter hasn't reached the most crucial moment. If you want to go with me, immediately call me Brother Happily." Lin Ji's face turned into a smile when he heard Su Yun's words. "Brother, the mission hasn't ended yet? What's the most crucial moment? Where are we going?" "To Japan." Su Yun raised his eyebrows. Lin Guo was instantly overjoyed. Chapter 2007. Yi Wanyang cooperated and explained the general process of their transaction. This way, he could give Su Yun and the others a general understanding of the situation. Everything was basically in their hands. However, even under such a situation where he seemed to be full of confidence, Su Yun still did not dare to be negligent. He did not dare to relax the importance of this matter. After collecting information on Black Crow, he realized that this person was not simple. Black Crow had escaped from Huaxia 10 years ago. He was a pure grave robber. Based on his understanding of history and feng shui, he had participated in many major ancient tomb destruction incidents. The cultural relics he stole were all taken overseas, so there was very little evidence of his crimes. After the police's tireless efforts, they finally found evidence of his crimes. However, Black Crow, who was extremely vigilant, had already escaped to Japan before the police could arrest him. After that, he disappeared for a long time. During this period of time, it was as if he had evaporated into thin air. There was no news of him at all. Later on, there was news of some tombs being stolen from Japan. According to the various modus operandi, it was almost certain that Black Crow was the culprit. However, there were many restrictions. Hua Xia could not go to Japan to participate in the arrest. Black Crow had been rampant in Japan for several years. However, the tombs in Japan were far from being comparable to those in Hua Xia. Moreover, Japan's history was not that long. Even if they obtained some top-grade unearthed items, they could not be compared to the items unearthed from Hua Xia's tombs. Therefore, Black Crow embarked on the career of an intermediary. The Japanese were quite interested in Hua Xia's ancient relics. Many rich people were generous. The same cultural relics could be sold for twice the price in Hua Xia. Moreover, he could earn a considerable amount of service fees from both sides of the transaction every time. With so much service fees, he naturally had to do something. Therefore, Black Crow set up a transit point in Japan. All the cultural relics were personally led by him to complete the transaction. Not only could he ensure safety, but he could also ensure credibility. After a few years of torment, Black Crow's reputation grew. Almost all the cultural relics that Hua Xia stole and sold to Japan had to go through his hands. He had also completely solidified his position as a middleman. No other middleman could be compared to him. The Japanese believed that he was trustworthy, while the Hua Xia believed that it was safe to look for him. Both sides were getting what they needed. It was definitely not easy to deal with such a cunning guy. Su Yun and the others did not understand the situation in Japan at all. More importantly, he had to bring along such a valuable cultural relic like the golden Buddha head. The pressure was quite great. Obviously, this mission could only succeed and not fail. While ensuring that the golden Buddha head was not damaged, he also had to ensure that Black Crow's criminal gang was eliminated in one fell swoop. This would be a major blow to the smuggling of cultural relics. With this heavy blow, he believed that it would be able to greatly curb the smuggling of cultural relics. Su Yun brought Lin Guo and Wen Xiao to meet in Shenzhen. Su Yun played the role of a senior manager of the Jutsai group, Wen Xiao played the role of a protector of the golden Buddha head, and Lin Guo played the role of a personal assistant. After confirming the trio's identities, Yi Wenyang explained the situation to Black Crow and explained their identities in detail. Black Crow's response was very positive. He liked how important the partner was. This golden Buddha head was obviously worth the three of them traveling together. However, in order to make it more natural for the three of them to travel together, Yi Wenyang also told Black Crow that after the deal was completed, he hoped that he could help bring the three of them to understand the cultural relics and antique market in Japan because the three of them were very interested. Black Crow was naturally happy to accept this. This meant that there was still a long way to go. After everything was arranged, the two parties agreed on a time. Hua Xia also calculated the time and arranged for Su Yun and the other two to board the ship and head to the agreed location. The merchant ship left the port. Su Yun was very calm, Lin Guo was very excited, and Wen Xiao was quite excited. There was a reason for his excitement. After all, this was no small matter to him. This was also a process of him rediscovering himself. He was already beginning to enjoy the feeling of returning to the special forces. With the sound of the horn, the merchant ship gradually moved away from the shore. The three of them sat in a room on the ship, surrounding a wooden box placed on the table in the middle. The storm caused by this thing was also coming to an end. Brother, there are so many skilled craftsmen in our country. They should really make a replica in a short time. Letting us take the real thing. I really can't get used to it. Lin Guo said, it's so dangerous. Su Yun smiled. He also knew that it was safer to make a replica, but the other party was a professional antique dealer. Do you think that with Black Crow's eyes, he can't tell the age of the Buddha head? Moreover, the things unearthed from underground all have a special smell. Smell? Lin Guo moved his nose forward and sniffed hard. What smell? This box is made of agarwood. It's really extravagant. We ordinary people can't smell it, Wen Xiao said. They are professionals in this field. They can indeed tell when an item was unearthed. It's said that the underground smell has a special fermentation smell, and this smell is very difficult to detect. Moreover, this smell can be combined with the material of the unearthed item itself. The fermentation smell of different materials is also different. We can't smell it, but Black Crow can definitely smell it. Lin Gu shrugged his shoulders. It seemed that he couldn't fool the Black Crow with a fake item. If the three of us can't even protect this golden Buddha head, wouldn't that be too embarrassing? Su Yun said lightly. The higher-ups arranged for us to complete this mission and gave us the real golden Buddha head. That means that they have 100% trust in us. Hearing this, Wan Shao was energized. The chief also said that he had confidence in him. Aren't they afraid that we will steal such an expensive thing? Lin Gu grinned. Brother, what do you think rich people want? Can they live 10 more years by collecting these things? When you have so much money that you can't spend it all, you will realize that only by buying these things can you be happy. Su Yun shrugged. We don't understand the world of the rich. Wen Shao looked at Su Yun with a black face. Boss, if you aren't rich, then how many people in Huaxia dare to call themselves rich? The boss of Sky Entertainment Group actually didn't consider himself rich. Only Su Yun could say something like that. That's true. I'm rich too, but I don't care about money. Su Yun smiled helplessly. I still don't know how much Sky Entertainment Group earns in a year. But even if I had money, I wouldn't spend 300 million to buy something like this at home. Su Yun rubbed his chin. How many Hope primary schools can be built with 300 million in Huaxia? Even if it's 3 million for one, we can build 100. Brother, when we bring the Buddha head back, we'll give the government a condition. We'll build 100 Hope primary schools all over the country. If they don't agree, we won't return it to them. Lin Gu grinned. I think you really don't know how to write the word death. Su Yun glared at Lin Gu. All right, take care of the things and sleep in shifts. We still have a long way to go. Chapter 2008. The long sea journey had almost worn out Lin Ji's patience. Finally, he heard Su Yun say, "We're here." The night on the ocean was not as bright as the lights in the city. Not far away, a small yacht flashed rhythmically with a strong light. Su Yun knew that this was a signal. According to Yi Wanyong's instructions, Su Yun took out a strong flashlight and pointed it at the small yacht not far away. 3 short and 1 long, 2 short and 2 long, gave a signal. After the small yacht received the signal, it quickly approached Su Yun's merchant ship. Get ready to work. Su Yun asked Wan Shao to bring the golden Buddha head and let Lin Gu be the first to get off the boat and board the yacht. The people in charge of driving the merchant ship were arranged by Shen Jiang. The people on the ship were all police officers. Su Yun quickly went to the captain's room and greeted everyone. It's been hard on the road, but the next 2 days might be even harder. Hold on a little longer. Don't worry, Marshal Yun. We're fine. This title was given to Su Yun by Brother Wang, who was in charge of driving the ship. He was a retired destroyer pilot from the Nanyang fleet. Because of some injuries, he was assigned to work in Shenzhong's maritime police. Because the merchant ship this time was too big, he had to go personally. Driving such a merchant ship was definitely a piece of cake for him. It was just that he hadn't been at sea for so long, so he wasn't used to it. Some of the police officers who came to carry out the mission were also selected excellent officers. After all, Su Yun and the others would need at least 2 days to complete the mission and return. It might even take longer. They had to wait for Su Yun and the others to complete the mission. Life at sea was shaky every day. Ordinary people really couldn't get used to it. But in order to cooperate with Su Yun and the others, these police officers went all out. They had to overcome any difficulties. Soon, the small yacht approached the merchant ship. Lin Gu was the first to climb down the merchant ship's rope ladder and directly jumped onto the small yacht. There were 4 people on the small yacht. 2 of them immediately surrounded Lin Gu and did a simple body search. Lin Gu cooperated and raised his arms without any resistance. Soon after, Wen Xiao boarded the small yacht with the golden Buddha head. The two people who had searched Lin Guo also came forward. Wen Xiao cautiously hugged the wooden box to his chest and looked at the two people with hostility. However, the two of them still searched Wen Xiao's body. The last to disembark was Su Yun. He did not wait for the man to search him before he called out, "Black Crow." They were all business partners, so there was no need to do such things. "We don't even suspect that you're going to kill and rob us. Are you going to suspect that we're carrying weapons?" Ha ha ha. A hearty laugh came from the boat. A man in his mid-30s walked onto the small deck of the yacht. His long hair was tied into a small braid at the back of his head, and he was wearing a linen long-sleeved shirt. He looked quite artistic. Su Yun still insisted on not letting the two people search him. He stared at this artistic guy. It seemed that he was Black Crow. He did not look black at all. Black Crow met Su Yun's gaze and grinned, revealing his white teeth. "So, this must be Mr. Su?" "That's right." Su Yun nodded. "Black Crow?" "That's me." Black Crow said, "I didn't expect Mr. Su to be so young and promising. I'm impressed." As he spoke, Black Crow's gaze had already shifted to the wooden box in Wen Xiao's arms. His smile was still very friendly. "Mr. Su, please don't mind me. As the saying goes, one should not have the heart to harm others, but one should always be vigilant. You came here to do business with experts. I can't help but be vigilant." "What's the point of searching him when you know he's an expert?" Su Yun asked. Black Crow was confused. "I don't know either. However, if I don't do this, I won't be confident at all. Mr. Su has experts by your side, and my people have self-defense weapons. If we really get into an argument, I'm afraid that both sides will suffer. When everyone has their own concerns, cooperation might be safer." "That does make sense." Su Yun smiled, "But we should be the ones to be vigilant. You're the middleman. If we hurt you, wouldn't we be asking for trouble?" Black Crow nodded and smiled. "Mr. Su's words really enlightened me. I really didn't think about these problems. It seems that I won't have to go through so much trouble in the future? Ha ha ha. Thank you for your advice. You flatter me." Su Yun shook his head and cut to the chase. "Have you contacted the buyer?" Black Crow had a thought-provoking smile on his face. "Mr. Su, aren't you being a little too direct? You don't have to worry about the buyer. They've already paid you half of the money. They should be the ones worrying." When Black Crow's gaze turned to the wooden box again, Su Yun knew what he meant. "You didn't think that I would come to you with an empty box, did you?" Wen Xiao frowned. "This is a deal between us and the buyer. You middlemen have no right to touch it." Black Crow looked Wen Xiao up and down. "You're Wen Xiao, right? Mystery admires you a lot. It seems that he paid you a high price to protect the golden Buddha head, right? Don't talk so much nonsense. The sooner the deal is done, the better." Wen Xiao said. Black Crow nodded. "That's right. The sooner the deal is done, the better. But as a middleman, before I bring you to meet the buyer, I have to make sure that the item you bring is what the buyer wants. If I can't see what's inside the wooden box, I won't set sail." Su Yun narrowed his eyes. "You mean, this deal is off?" "No, Mr. Su." Black Crow said, "This is the first time you've come into contact with me, so you don't know my rules. You all know how trustworthy I am. My rules are to be responsible for both of you. I have to see the item with my own eyes and make sure that it's not fake before I bring you to meet the buyer." Su Yun nodded and said, "Okay, that's indeed being responsible. But let me make it clear, you can only look at it. We have to keep it. Otherwise, I'll be worried that the story of a leopard cat swapping the crown prince will happen here." "You're joking, Mr. Su. I don't have any leopard cats on this ship." Black Crow was actually looking forward to seeing the golden Buddha head. He was quite interested in such a valuable item. Wen Xiao and Su Yun looked at each other before Wen Xiao opened the wooden box. The moment the wooden box was opened, Su Yun saw that Black Crow's eyes were shining. A treasure was a treasure. It could make these professionals so shocked. Black Crow didn't even need to touch it. With the lights on the ship, he was very sure that the color of the item was real and not fake. Even though the sea smell was heavy, he could smell the unique smell of the golden Buddha head that had been buried underground for too long. Wan Shao closed the wooden box again. How is it? Have you seen enough? Black Crow was slightly startled and came back to his senses. How could he have seen enough of this thing? He could even admire it for an entire night. Ha ha ha, it's really the best. Something that can be sold at such a price must have its value. Su Yun smiled. Brother Black Crow, now that you've confirmed my item, shouldn't we set sail? We're taking a huge risk. Black Crow nodded. Of course, we'll leave now. After we return to Dongying, I'll arrange for you to go to a safe place. After we've settled on the location with the buyer, you can do the transaction in person. Everything will end perfectly. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.